It makes art like the coolest thing in the world. It says art can change the world, by singing a song. That's more powerful than any rules you can make. The rules of man, the human created laws, that people tell you have to follow, those aren't real. Those don't exist. Art is real. Emotion, the feeling inside of yourself, that's what's real. Connor speaks the truth because he speaks to your heart. He creates a feeling and he inspires people. The headmaster, he doesn't inspire people. He holds people down. He puts your face into the sink. He tries to drown you. He tries to kill your ambition. He tries to kill your expression. You dye your hair, you wear makeup. He says, no, don't do that. Right. And Connor says, yes, I am going to do that. Whether that's me or not, I don't know if that's who I am truly, but I'm going to try it. Right. Because that's a part of my journey. That's a part of my expression.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's the opening of the podcast.
You're just giving me the fist, like, yeah, man. I mean, but that's what this movie is. It's like a battle cry, right? It's like it speaks to your soul. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, with that. That's fucking great. That's fucking great. We got the fight out of Andrew in that one. Whenever we do that, it's great.
Oh my God.
They don't chase clout, they just chase the lore. Dig scenes that the mainstream ignores, where light fights dark in a fabled war. Yeah, the truth gets told when the movie's born. I'm the break in the flicker, the cut in the edit, the blade through the credits, a frame they embedded. Light in the distance, persistence poetic. The dark is a prison, I brighten with aesthetic. No stunt doubles, I tumble through trap fights. The scripts in my soul, I control when my track spikes. Whisper in a reel, I reveal with the black light. The dark is a canvas that I carve with the flashlight. Call it a war cry, a cinematic spark, a puzzle in the shadows, a code of the art. It's Andrew and Greg and the legacy embarks. Our voices ignite and we light up the dark.
All right off the bat, can I tell you something awesome?
Let's do it.
Smooth, who did our theme song for our podcast, okay, amazingly talented guy. I've listened to that theme song, of course, so many times editing the podcast, and every single time I listen to it, I'm like, this is just so fun. I never get tired.
As all of our listeners as well, every time.
Yeah. So Smooth, he just texted me right before the podcast, and he sent me a link. He just released his album, rap album. It's an EP. So it's a short album, but it looks like it has about 7 or 8 songs. And it's called In New York, Our Nature is People. And it's on Spotify.
So tell us where all of our massive audience can where we can drive traffic to for this.
Yeah, but I told him, I said, I'm just about to record and I can't listen to it right now, but I'm so excited to listen to it. So that's probably what I'm going to do right when we hang up. He told me he was working on that for a while, for the last few months. And, he did a song in my short film, Sky. He's in the movie. He's an actor in the movie. And we did a little sequence, right? When the boy in the movie goes on the subway, he's in the subway busking. And I told him that he kind of is the secret ingredient to the movie because the whole movie's just the little boy by himself. And then there's one moment where he meets this busker and they have a little interaction and really like lifts up the whole movie. I called him the clothespin in the middle, right? To where he picked up the pace so that it didn't drag.
I never heard that term. Busker? I've been in New York.
Yeah, busker.
Years.
Yeah, it's like,
what's a busker?
Yeah, like when you make music on the street, right? It's called
I
busker.
didn't know that they call it that.
Yeah. So he's in my movie. And so then he had a great experience with me, thankfully. And he asked me, he said, dude, can I do an interview with you about New York? And we can talk about your film and we can talk about your experience in the city. And he said, the reason I want to do it is because I want to use the recording of your voice in the album that I'm recording. Wow. And yeah, so he and I ended up doing this long talk for about an hour. And then he used little clips of my voice in the album.
Oh, dude, I gotta hear this.
Yeah. And then I said to him, I'm like, this is kind of cool because you were in my movie and now I'm in your album. And so
he's in your podcast. So
yeah, and now he's
back and forth.
He's like the voice of the podcast, of the theme song. So yeah, so I thought that was really awesome. So I'm excited to hear it.
All right. So where can people go to get this?
It's on Spotify. Yeah, he just sent me the Spotify link. So In New York, Our Nature is People. And he spells his name Smuth. So if you like our theme song and you want to hear more from Smooth, check him out on Spotify.
SMOOTH on Spotify.
No, Smuth.
SMUTH on
Yeah.
Spotify. Okay, yeah. I'm dyslexic. I can't spell shit. So,
Yeah. It's SMU with an umlaut. TH.
oh yes. If you do it
Yeah.
without the umlaut, does that fuck it up?
It'll pop up. If you do it without the umlaut, it'll pop up.
Okay.
So
And for
yeah.
anybody who doesn't know what an umlaut is, it's a little squiggly line over the U.
No, it's 2 dots over the U.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we had a client click
Yeah.
you, and over the U there was 2 dots. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I mean, I told this story on one of the previous episodes, but when we did the theme song, I barely gave him any prompt, and he came back with the most amazing lyrics I've ever heard. So I mean, his lyric, he's unbelievable lyricist. So I'm so excited to hear the album.
I can't wait to hear that too, now that Andrew's on it.
Yeah, yeah, and you're gonna hear my voice.
I don't get enough of that.
Exactly. Yeah, if you wanted more Andrew, listen to Smooth's album. But
Andrew
really, it's
overload.
Smooth.
I think you had everyone on the podcast, all the listeners, until you said that you're on it, and they're like,
Right. Listen to it for Smooth, not for me.
exactly.
All right.
All right, so Sing Street, your choice.
Yeah, Sing Street. Yeah, one of my all-time favorite movies. I said in our Clerks episode this was my pick, last time, and then we made a switch. And yeah, here we go. We came around to Sing Street. I finally got it in there. I said on our Being There episode that I really wanted to raise my game because you had picked movies that were so good. And I was picking a lot of Superman movies, which are very good movies. They're very fun, okay, but they're not necessarily like artistic, intellectual
They're
masterpieces.
not Weekend at Bernie's. Come on.
No, no, it's not Weekend at Bernie's level. Few things are. And, I said I was going to raise my game and I wanted to pick a movie you had never seen. So Sing Street came up. You said, "Oh, I've never seen it." And so now I feel like finally I have the opportunity to see a movie through Greg's eyes. For once, here we go.
And I didn't know anything about Dan Carney before this either.
Oh, John Carney. Yeah, John Carney.
John Carney. I'm getting used to his name.
Right. And yeah, you said you didn't know anything about the movie. Like
No.
anything. You didn't know what the story, the premise, you didn't even know anything.
And I love going in like that. That's how I love going in. As you know, when we were going up to the new Superman, and you sent me a clip of something, and I clicked it, and I was like, "Huh, what's this?" And I realized I started watching a scene from the middle of the movie, and I was like, immediately shut it off. I was, "Did you just send me this? Did you just send me a clip from the movie?"
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what is this going to be? Andrew's first pick. And from the opening 2 shots of there, we get a handheld shot from this. This is, you want to see movies through my eyes the first time watching them.
Yeah.
I don't go deep into themes off the bat. I don't
Yeah.
go, what is the theme of this film? Where is it? I completely missed until my second viewing of the opening. I just went back to see, when do you first know that this is, in Dublin in 1985? And there's a
Yeah.
title card, cuts to black. I missed that completely the first time watching it. My mind just goes, handheld 235, a kid playing guitar. We're pulling back out of him, and I go, "Oh, this is interesting. Okay, where we at?" Now I'm thinking, God knows what potato famine type thing Andrew's going for, what decade this could be in. I know there's going to be some sort of love loss, could be deeply depressing. Maybe it's some, tragic Eastern European, French, God knows where we're at, but a throwback from 2016. I'm going, where could this be going? Then it cuts to a secondary handheld shot from the side of him, and he's still, singing and playing guitar, and, not very good. He's kind of, a young teen angst kid. Then you have this whole sequence that's an initiation to the family, right? And all of
Yeah.
that, whole thing, handheld, everything. And then it transitions to the scene about him going to school, and you could see he's a fish out of water, an outsider. And I started going, huh, this is very like about a boy aspect to like what's going on with this film. They're setting up all these like little characters and little things. And then there's immediate fight. So you're just like, oh wow, stakes are raised. This kid's looking at this like, what's going on in my new place? I know I skipped over the whole family thing. We can go back to it, because then it cuts to this weird a priest type man just staring out the window watching this fight, having nothing to do with it, but just like presiding as this, emissary over looking at the chaos down below him. And that also is a still frame where it says, Bob and Harvey Weinstein, and it's a Dutch angle looking up at the sky. So there's like there's always, whenever you see like Harvey's name in there now to a film, there's always a little extra pause. There's a little extra, ooh, yikes, that's going to be distracting for this shot, no matter what it is, even if it's an old Tarantino. You come up there with Weinstein and everyone, it's in your head now. You go, ooh, okay, you just have a little thing. But this one specifically is holding on that shot over this one emissary type character, which stuck in me a little bit more. And it's still all handheld. Every shot in the film, the whole opening is all handheld, right up until you get into the school. And the first shot that's a static image is in the classroom, and it's the POV of the chalkboard as the teacher is writing on the chalkboard. So now you come from this entire handheld world where the kid's bedroom is handheld, his parents' life is handheld, him walking into the school is handheld, and the first static shot that you have is inside of, actually, the Dutch angle shot looking up at the emissary guy, the priest dude or whatever. I have to look back to see if that one's handheld. In my memory right now, I'm actually thinking, is that,
Okay.
hold on, I'm gonna scan to that shot. Give me a
Okay.
second. I actually have
Okay.
to know this. I have to know if I was right about this and if the director was specifically trying to say something about this. Hold on, I'm almost there.
Okay.
Kids are walking in, he's coming in. Yeah, he's very about a boy. I'm looking at it right now. No, I'm completely wrong. All the slow-mo shots. Yeah, all the slow-mo shots of him, those are all on a dolly track. And the POV of him when he gets into the schoolyard is a steady cam. So yeah, forget everything I was saying, but everything up until he enters into the school was all handheld. And now as soon as he actually gets to the gates, let me see if I'm right about this. He's entering into the gates. The first shot, yeah, he's crossing the street. Yeah, he's crossing the street. It's on him. It's handheld. Nope, that's steady cam. You know what I said? This is why I need to watch these more than once.
I know.
So,
See how hard it is? I told you I had to watch Incredible Shrinking Man and talk to you after only one viewing.
yeah, it is difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But okay, I will say this: in the house, everything handheld. This handheld. First shot when they cut out of the house now is Sing Street. It cuts to the Synge Stret.
Right.
Cutting to that, and that looks like a Steadicam as it's zooming. Then we come into him crossing the street. This is definitely a wide angle, like 25, 28 millimeter Steadicam shot of him crossing the street. So we've come from the handheld home to now Steadicam that is outside, moving through with the kids. Some kid goes, "Get out of my way." Cuts into, we see the bully kid being set up there, him eyeing him up and down. All this Steadicam. Then we cut into these POV shots, slow motion Steadicam, kids spitting, doing all this and that. Let me see. It's going to be Steadicam, though, if it goes up to the priest. The fight's all Steadicam. It's a little, shaky Steadicam. It's not Kubrick Steadicam. Yep, the priest guy up there, that's a Steadicam, more like, I don't know, 60 millimeter or something on there. Then we get into the school, and now we are static on the teacher, and there's a dolly track, and we're moving around on the dolly track. So it makes it even more interesting than what I was originally going to bring up. Brings up handheld in the household, Steadicam on his way to school, and now we're static. It's almost like creativity. Now we're getting a little bit less in that, and now we're static. And the school is the thing that's going to be making him, you need to conform. You need to get to the way that we want you to be. But at home, it's a little bit more chaotic. So it's actually a nice little transition that the director's doing here in this opening visually. I've done enough talking. I'm going to toss it back to you.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Opening and in the home with the handheld. And obviously his home life is quote unquote unsteady. His home life is on shaky ground. So of course it makes sense there would be handheld. Similar actually to what I did in my short film Sky, as my idea was the little boy wakes up and I wanted to create that feeling of like that slight uneasiness. And so I thought, okay, he's in his apartment, just by himself, but let's do handheld because the idea is like this is a home life that he kind of wants to escape from. And the same in this movie, Sing Street. That's interesting. And then he goes to school and it's like introducing him to this new environment. And they do the dolly shots and it's slow motion. And slow motion can often be like a heightened kind of almost like a heightened awareness, like your instinct kicks in and you're like noticing things in greater detail. And of course, this is a new environment, right? And he's like uncertain of, whoa, who are these new kids and what is
High
this
alert,
school
yeah.
gonna, yeah, high alert. And then that's interesting. And then transitioning into just the static of now you're just sitting in class and, this is your new reality. And this is a place where he's not gonna be inspired by this place, right? There is a staticness to this place, yeah, that he wants to
And that
get
very
out of.
first thing, fall in line. What are those shoes? Hey, kid. And this guy was looking outside, this I
Mm,
eminent, type of
interesting,
person looking outside,
interesting.
and he wasn't watching the fight, particularly. He was watching who's this new kid and who's this fish out of water, this person here who could be coming into my, quote unquote orderly school that I have, even though there's a fight breaking out that he doesn't care about. But who is this new person coming in? And there's not a close up on the shoes there or whatnot, but the very first scene is like homeroom first morning. Guy comes right in. Hey, shoes, you.
Yeah, okay. That's very interesting. I see. So you go straight into technique, craftsmanship, camera, what is the lens, dolly, moving camera.
Do I trust this director? What are you saying to me? And do I feel like I
Ah,
trust you not through storyline, but more through tone and your craftsmanship? If I trust those two aspects of what you're going for, I go, okay, I'm gonna trust your storyline.
I see, yeah. I'm actually watching just the opening bit right now, and I see, yeah, there's a fight, and you kind of get this feeling like he's in this new place and it's chaotic, and there was actually a little thread of story in the movie where the kid has had experience in France. Like he comes from a place that's a little more posh. Like he's Irish, but he speaks some French, and they kind of make fun of him, like, "Oh, you're fancy." And so, he's taken out of his school. We don't see the school he's taken out of, but then he's put into this, I guess it's like a Catholic public school.
Right.
And it's clearly a rougher school. And so he's entering in and the camera's moving with him and
Was
he's
that
seeing
French
the
thing? Was that
fight.
set up at the table with the parents? Was that
You know what? I didn't notice it. They say later, like, "Oh,
okay?
you're fancy." And he mentions something about France, but yeah, it goes by really, really quickly.
Okay.
I wanted to know more about that. But anyway, so when a movie starts, you come in with this mindset and you're like, am I in good hands directorially?
Oh yeah. Big time.
Okay. So how did you feel about this movie in terms of that?
I love the opening shot, and I thought it was appropriate to cut to the side angle, and
Mm.
I did like it. Many times, if you're doing like that, here's my opening shot, and you have a nice pull out, and it's handheld or whatever. I many times want the second cut to mean something, but I felt it
Mm.
worked here, and we got a little closer to the character again. So if you're thinking about it, it kind of doesn't make sense. We start close, we pull back, we show a guitar. Now we're cutting, but we're showing him from a different perspective, and it's nice. And we're not learning that much more about the room. We know he's already sitting on his bed, but it just worked. It just had a nice two little cuts where we're seeing this person. Like, okay, I'm still here. And then I thought it was interesting. We cut to the table scene, and it seemed like most of that they might have had to move the table out of the way for the camera to be there. But I like the handheld feel, and I like that they set up all of the characters right there. The home characters all got set up in one location, and this is when I noticed I was like, oh, the father's very good. I like the mother. I was like, I like the kid, and I really like the brother. I was like, there's something about this guy that's really working here, even from that scene. I was like, "Ooh, I like him. I hope he's in this more." And and
Yeah.
and that was it was a nice thing. They got that scene out, and you said you got all the other things. They're not doing too well. It's not going to be the greatest here, but it seems like hey, the kids are going to kind of take care of us, and we're in some weird recession type thing going on.
Yeah.
And that's all you kind of get. At least that's all I got from that scene. I haven't rewatched it, but I go, okay, we set
Yeah.
and now he's going to be thrown into this other he's basically being thrown into Shawshank Redemption. It's like hey, this kid's going into a place he doesn't know what's going on. And I liked his little bowed shoulders and the thing he's entering into. You have very much that it sets it up well. And I again at this point I missed the title card of being 1985, but it had that John Hughes, hey, you're getting an 80s vibe going out here with this kid being in some sort of school type environment. So there was something going on. I had no idea at this point watching this that this was going to be a fucking musical. It's the last thing I thought Andrew was going to be going like, this is one of my favorite movies. I was like,
Yeah.
who does this kid accidentally kill? Somebody's going to get raped in the movie. Like, there's going to be some deep, like the IRA is going to come through here and kill his whole family. I was like, where's this movie going? So I had no idea at that point that
Oh,
this movie was going to turn into like
that's great.
Footloose and go that direction mixed with like 16 Candles. So I had no idea of that. I'm a huge fan of the 80s. So like Duran
Yeah.
Duran, Cure, Hall & Oates, The Clash, New Order, like all into that stuff. So I still didn't know that that was where this was going as a so I was
Yeah.
yeah, I was very interested. So I don't know if it's
Yeah.
the scene, but I kind of want to know like what inspired you to pick this movie? What resonated with you? Did you see it in 2016? Like when did this happen?
Yeah, I saw it in 2016 in the theater.
You were the one.
Did it not do that well?
No, it did. It just didn't have a huge release. It was made, I think, for $1 million. I looked it up, and it made like 12. But it had a smaller theatrical release and was bigger when it got to, DVD. But it didn't, it wasn't a box office giant hit. It
No.
did it like Sundance.
Yeah, it feels like an indie movie, it looks like it was shot in Ireland. And yeah, it's not the kind of movie that would be a box office hit, I don't think. But I do remember it had very strong word of mouth. And that's why I went to see it in the theater because I had seen the trailer and I thought, it looks okay. And I like movies about music, but it didn't really grab me. And I ended up seeing it in the theater and I just fell in love with it immediately. I had one of the most powerful movie experiences I've ever had watching this movie for the first time in the movie theater. Yeah. I got out of the theater and I just had this energy just like radiating out of me. Like I just wanted to go make a movie. I wanted to go create art. I was like, I didn't even want to drive home. I was just like, I can't even wait. I like, what can I do right now? It was like that urgency. I just thought the movie was so inspiring. And over the years, watching it multiple times now, I realize it's just like the perfect movie for me, I think. And I hope other people would feel that way as well. I mean, it had that great word of mouth. I heard from a lot of artists, I would like listen to stuff online, guys who do movie talk, and they'd be saying, "Hey, I related to this movie." And that's why I wanted to share it with you, is because it's a movie about a musician, but a big part of the movie is that he shoots music videos.
Yeah.
And so there's this like strong thread in the film where he's planning out shots, like he's writing songs, but there's also one scene in particular where he says, I have all the shots planned out in my head, and he's like, we're going to cut to this and then we're going to get a shot of this. And he's kind of the director and the producer of all the videos. And there's like the scene with the prom in the middle of the movie, and he's directing all the girls. He's saying, okay, dance like this and do this. So he's a singer, but he's really also a director. And I think I just connected so strongly to that, that I ended up feeling like this is my childhood. And that's why I wanted to share it with you, because I had a feeling that you would feel the same way.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think it's a movie about teenage creativity, and I think it's
Yeah.
versus conformity. And I think that aspect towards the end of the movie, really hits home. And I love the fact that, he throws in it's 1985, so he's throwing in Back to the Future there, and the whole ending is the Marty McFly Back to the Future. I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet, but your kids are gonna love it. Like the whole ending of that movie,
Yeah.
and it's a giant fuck you to the establishment. And it's, this kid coming into like, I'm not ready to conform to any of this shit. And like, he's just like, I'm going to be creative as fuck and burn the place down. In the end, drive a fucking boat, away to another island. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I'm going
Yeah.
to England. Like, fuck this
Yeah.
shit. Like, and he gets the girl. Like it's every kid's like little fantasy that you would have as like a teenager. Like, fuck this establishment. I want to be creative and I'm going to get the girl and I'm going away to a foreign land. Like it was every little like I'll run away and make my own thing. Um
Yeah.
we never do get to see when Jack and Rose make it to New York and he, still keeps painting the French girls and she gets angry and she's 6 months pregnant going, stop painting French girls. This could be what happened when they got to England.
Yeah, I definitely think that they would break up. I thought that while watching it this most recent time. I was like, oh, this kid's in for a rude awakening. Like, these two are never gonna last.
He's gonna grow up real
But
quick.
yeah, he's gonna realize this is the wrong type of girl to pick. But I think that's part of the movie. And he even says in the movie, when you first meet someone and you don't know anything about them, and they're more interesting. And he writes a song about that. So
Gonna write a lot more songs when he gets to England. He's gonna write a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
more.
But I think that to me, that was one of the great charms of the film is that this young boy had this wisdom about him, that there was something special about him, that he actually had this perception, this kind of emotional awareness, where he was able to understand things on a little more of a mature level than you can tell all the students around him.
And it
Um,
came from his brother, and I think that was the biggest
from
part
his
about the
brother.
movie. I know we're kind of talking about that out of order. This is just gonna be an out of order.
Yeah.
'Cause I think the themes need to jump back and forth. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that scene when they know that the parents are getting divorced, and
Okay.
the brother, I forget what line he said. I only watched it once, but when he's basically giving him, "I paved the way for you.
Oh, yeah.
I went through all this shit. I chopped down all the fucking, the trees in front of you. I was fucking," I forget what he says. He goes, "I was, I cut the path. No, I was a fucking jet engine." It's
Yeah.
not that. He was just like, I was the shit, man. Like, you don't know what I went through, and you had it so fucking easy. You didn't get to see that. I was here for 6 years, and I was doing all this,
Yeah. I think
and
he likened it to, he said, I was going through the jungle with a machete,
yes.
clearing the path for you. Yeah.
And he kept doing that. He inspired him. Here's what music is. This music shit. That shit. Oh, your first video, that shit. And he kept pushing him, in that direction. And I'd never had siblings, but the movie made me appreciate and go, oh, is that what it would be like to have like an older sibling or an older brother? Like, what is the dynamic there really? I haven't really seen a movie that does that well, where I can actually feel it. But in this one, I was like, oh, it would be cool to kind of have like an older brother or be an older brother. I think being an older brother, from what I was getting from the movie, is almost like being a second dad in a certain way, where if you care about the younger one, you can go, hey, don't step on these minefields. This is kind of the way that you need to go. And I think from watching it, especially the way that the younger, main character protagonist was in this, he respected his older brother. And they didn't have a pushback in this where it was like, "Fuck you, older brother. We're gonna have that scene." He wanted him. Hey, come to my show. Even in his fantasy, he's picturing his older brother as James Dean from Rebel Without a Cause, coming in with the red jacket and the white tee on a fucking motorcycle, and then getting into a knife fight and defending him. Like he has this way of looking at the world that was,
Yeah.
very idealistic and had no problem saying "fuck you" to the man.
Yeah.
It was very good. And sorry to be jumping all over the place, but
Yeah. He sees his brother as like the coolest guy in the world. He doesn't see his brother like a loser or a burnout. He admires his brother. He looks up to his brother. And he takes what his brother says to heart in a serious way. And the cool thing about it is that the brother is a character who he's not really able to apply that to his own life. He clearly has his own emotional issues, but he's somebody who's smart enough to have the wisdom where when he says it, the younger brother can say, I'm actually going to do that. And then when he does it, it works. I do think, yeah, their relationship is very, very special in this movie. And of course, the movie ends with a title card that says four brothers everywhere.
Right, and that's when it really hit home too, because that was the number one thing that I was responding to, from that first scene. I go, "Oh, this brother's good," and then as it went on, I was like, "Oh no, this brother's fucking great, like, this actor's fucking murdering this," and by
Yeah.
the end, I was just like, "Oh man, I want him to take off." And in that ending scene, it was like you said, you described, like, "Oh, I came out of the theater, I wanted to feel, I wanted to do this." I had that same thing with the movie Rudy, and I think the ending of this movie identical to, the Rudy scene where the janitor turns around, he slaps his hands, and he walks away like, "Ah, I did that. I helped Rudy get to that place." And this was the brother getting back in the car, releasing that, watching them go off on the boat, and the brother's freaking out there, and I was like, "Dude, that's the Rudy janitor." I was like, "That's the Rudy janitor guy." He just lived his life through him and said, "Yep, I did that. I infected that kid with my love and passion for this thing." And the kid's got the girl, he's got the boat, he's got grandpa's boat, and he's fucking going out there, and they'll probably die, but whatever, you know? That's where the movie
Yeah.
really ends. They never even get to fight when they get to England. They just died 20 minutes later. Sure. But what a great ending.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really like the brother kicks off everything for the kid because that early scene where they're watching the music video on TV with the whole family, and the sister's trying to study, and the brother is like disrespecting the father, and he calls him by his first name. I forget what his name is, but he's like Robert or whatever. He's like, "Shut up, Robert. This is art." And he's talking up the video, and then it just cuts to the younger brother Connor, and he's just got this twinkle in his eye, like he's like, "Yes, I get it, I see it, like what my brother's saying is true. This is art, this is the future." And it's like that becomes his destiny, and he follows that.
That's a great way of looking at it. The younger brother saw the older brother tell off the father figure in that and fight with him going, "No, this is art." And it's exactly what he does later to the, head priest guy or whatever his thing is at the school. And he goes, "Fuck you, dad.
That's true.
This is me saying art means something."
Yeah, he idolizes his brother, he copies his brother. He doesn't respect his father. You can tell there's no scenes where Connor is talking to his dad or getting any advice from his dad.
No, he looked at him sleeping on the ground next to his mom, and
Right.
he has just a look at him, and he doesn't say goodbye
Yep.
to him. In his mother's sleep, he says goodbye to his mother.
Yeah. The older brother is for sure the father figure. Yeah. Connor doesn't care at all about his dad, but he cares everything about his brother. His brother is his world. He just wants his parents to get along. He doesn't want his parents to get divorced, but he doesn't seem to respect his father. But he respects his brother tremendously.
Yeah, and the brother definitely has some bad feelings towards the father. His brother definitely has some bad feelings towards the mother, going like
Yeah.
he points out ahead of time,
Yeah.
"Hey, she's probably having an affair, and dad never took her on vacation. She sits out there on the porch. She has her one cigarette and reads the newspaper, and that's her vacation." And fucking what, a week later or whatever, like, "Hey, well, they're getting divorced." The Bullet brother's like, "Yep, fucking knew this was gonna happen."
Yeah. Yeah. I loved that little subplot. I interpreted it like the brother is actually kind of in love with the mother, that those two have this special relationship.
Oh,
And
we're
I
bringing
think there
Freud,
might
we're
even
bringing Freud
be,
into this here with Andy.
yeah, I think there might even be a line where they say something like the mother wants to hold the older brother back because she loves him so much, she doesn't want him to leave. That's something that mothers can do with their children. Yeah. And so this brother, he's like, he has passion. What I loved about the brother character is that he seems to have this passion, but it's like it's been squashed. Like there's something off. Like I think they say, did he drop out of college or
Yeah, he
something
did. He
like
dropped
that?
out of
Yeah.
college, and then he has that whole scene where he's blowing up, and then he kind of makes the excuse for it, saying like, "I haven't smoked in fucking 3 days." That
Right.
seems like he's trying to either turn his life around or something at that moment. He's trying to get something back. Maybe it's because he didn't have enough money to buy weed. Who knows? But it seemed to me when he said it as if he was like saying, "I haven't smoked in a couple of days," because he was trying to make some sort of change. Of course, like 15 minutes later, you see the next scene with him. He's sitting there and he's fucking smoking a joint. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm not going to make it," which makes the ending even a bit more when, hey, I didn't make it, but I'm helping my brother get the hell out of here. And he's the younger version of him. He's like the id ego, super ego, or whatever. The little acorn of him has now become his alter ego that's younger, who was able to have the way paved for. And he goes, hey, this kid's going to escape.
Yes, I was gonna say that they do a beautiful flip-flop where the brother is clearly Connor's mentor, he's clearly guiding him through life. But then there's a flip-flop where Connor has the courage to just put himself out there, and he in turn inspires his brother. And he in turn takes the machete and chops down the path for his brother to then leave. His brother becomes inspired by the younger, the older brother becomes inspired by the younger brother by the end. So they inspire each other.
And I think that was really well done when you get to see the older brother sitting in the car and he has that like personal private moment with him. You can see at that moment that he's going, his pinwheels are turning, going, all right, I'm gonna get my shit together. I'm gonna awaken this fucking what was the line again? I was a fucking jet engine.
Yeah.
Awaken that fucking jet engine inside of himself, and he's gonna get the motivation and he's gonna go fucking do something.
Yeah, and there was that beautiful moment toward the end of the film where the brother's now sitting on the porch, kind of copying his mother. He's almost adopting the
Yes,
behavior of his mother.
very good point.
Right? And then
I didn't.
Connor stops and says, "Hey, maybe you could play, guitar on one of my
And he's like,
songs." And
maybe
so
I
it's
will.
like,
Maybe I will come in there and do. He said do a solo. I think he said maybe you should come in and do a solo. And he goes, yep, maybe I will. And he says it not in a condescending way. He says it like maybe he actually will, which
yeah,
doesn't. But
he
it,
doesn't. Yeah.
it ignited something in him.
Right, right. So Connor reaches back out to his brother to try to lift him up. He makes the gesture and he says, "Hey, I'm now doing stuff. You've inspired me to go do stuff. I'm playing a gig. So now I'm going to inspire you. Come and be a part of my gig. I can spare some of that energy. Come and I think the brother actually says he uses the word slipstream, like you're just walking in my slipstream. And now Connor can do the same in return. He can say, "Hey, you come and walk in my slipstream now."
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
we
really
said
nice.
Connor, the only person he cares about is the older brother. I think we said that, but he really does care about Wendy Peppercorn over here from not the
From
same
Heart?
actress, but this is the Wendy Peppercorn actress type conduit. Seeing this girl across the street who, when he walks in there and you see her across the street, you're like, this girl's like 28. When you first see her, and then you learn she's 16, he's 15, and you're like, what? And then I liked it later because you get to see her like without makeup and without the 80s hairdo puffed up, and you're like, oh yeah, she is 16. But she's
Yeah.
up with makeup and hair and standing there in a certain way. You're like, oh my God, this person's much, much older. They're obviously not in school and they're just standing out here.
Yeah.
When he goes over
Yeah.
there and he fakes a lie just to try to, get in with this girl and then comes back to his friend, after going like, oh yeah, that's my manager and this is what happened. And he's just, we got to start a band. Like, it's just like, all right, I'm motivated. And it's interesting. His brother motivates him to a certain degree, but then, young teenage angst of wanting to impress a girl motivates him to the next level.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's inspired by two different kinds of love. He's inspired by love in the movie, but it's two different kinds of love. And I realized this time watching it that the girl looks very impressive, right? She's got the full makeup and the hair, the outfit, and she looks like this cool older girl. But then, like you said, we actually find out she's younger than we thought. So she's kind of putting on this air of maturity that she actually doesn't quite have. She's also faking. That's what I thought was so charming this time watching it, is I realized she's doing the exact same thing that Connor's doing. She's saying, "Yeah, I'm a model, like I'm so cool. I'm above all you little kids." And yet she's standing out there when all the boys are walking back and forth. So what's she doing out there? She's out there for those boys.
He's
And then
peacocking
one,
out there. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And one of the boys, sure enough, comes over, and it's our main character. And she says like, "I'm a model," and she tries to be all fancy, but actually she's not really a model, because later she says, "Well, all I've ever done are your videos." you know? So she's also lying to him.
It's true, but she does have a few when we cut to her in her bedroom in that one scene, she does have a few headshots that she's got from somewhere that she's
Yeah.
putting together. So that
Yeah.
might be, from another one of the guys driving her around in a car or doing something like that, but there's not like, she's got some headshots that she's gonna bring somewhere, and she has her whole thing of,
Yeah.
I'll go to England and then there'll be something new there as well.
Yeah. And later we find out a lot about her. We find out that she's an orphan, you know, that she's had some abuse in her past, and she actually has this dark backstory. And so she's a girl who's very lost herself. You know, she comes from a troubled home. And, you know, so her and Connor are this mirror of each other. And I think that's obviously why they connect.
And I think that specific point relates very much to what she responded to within the first song that he writes, because when he was describing it, he was describing when you don't know somebody, they could be anyone. But
Mm,
when you know them, there could be limits to them. And that that
right.
that that very much typifies what we don't know about her at that part in the film.
Yeah. What we see, the first image of her, is definitely different from what we get to know later.
Right.
You know, she puts on this air of like the shield, like the armor.
Makeup,
And
the
the,
hair,
yes,
everything, and that's what he ends
yes,
up putting on him and all the other boys, if we wanna look at
right.
Andrew's eyes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
As soon as he shows up to the first music video, he's
Ah,
like, "Ah, no, no, you people need my armor. You need what I
yeah,
use,
yeah,
to be able to get to the next level of what you're trying to do here."
right. I loved it how, you know, she actually jumped into the water, and I thought that that was yeah, and then she actually says to him
I can't swim.
yeah, and she says, "Save me." You know, she actually has a request, "Please save me." And so she has the courage to take the dive, but then she needs him to save her, and I thought, of course, that's like a little metaphor for their relationship because, she is a lost girl, you know, and she thinks she's so cool, but she really also does need him, you know, he needs her, but she also needs him, they need each other, and so the metaphor of, like, he is gonna save her, you know, he's gonna jump in and save her.
She played it from the beginning like she had all her shit together.
Yeah, yeah, so I just thought that was, really sweet.
It is.
Um, and then later she becomes very vulnerable. So she starts with the armor, and then by the end, you know, the armor is removed. And like you said, there's the shot of her later with no makeup at all. And like that's her quote unquote low point when she returns from London and she's had this failed attempt and she's depressed and she insults him. She's like, "You're just a kid." And he actually gets mad and he walks away. It's like the only time in the movie where he's like, "I actually don't want to be around you right now. Like that, you just insulted me." And so you get to see her in that very vulnerable state as the movie goes on. So, yeah, it's a great character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that scene, this is why I wanted to share this movie with you, is that scene where they shoot the first video. I mean, I feel like that's my life. Like, how many times have you and I done something like that, right? Like a terrible low budget shoot. You're a kid, you have no idea what you're doing, you have nothing, you just have like costumes from your school or whatever. And, you know, they try. It's like all heart, all heart, no execution.
100%, except I never would have walked around in a one handheld shot like that kid just panning here and there. I would have been so
Right.
more,
Yeah,
"Here's
yeah.
my wide shot. Now I'm gonna get my close up, I'm gonna get the" even though, they're editing, like, it seems like they're editing in camera. They really never go to the
Yes.
actual sequence of them cutting this together with 2 VCRs or anything like
No,
that.
no,
But
it
the
looks like
actual
it's all in camera, and then they probably lay the song over it.
Yeah, because when they cut to certain things of watching it, you get to see there's cuts in it, and I was sitting there going like, "You guys jumped over the editing of this. Like, what where's the" I know that they would have had 2 shitty VCRs or just the camcorder was the playback and the other recorder was the recorder. I'm like, "You didn't have any
Yeah,
flying erase
yeah,
heads going on here on the VHS. There would have been the wavy lines that come over every cut that you're trying to put in here, and
yeah,
you wouldn't have had 2, where you lay down the audio track first and then cut the video to it. That's much more expensive VCR to be able to do that at the time. But anyway, I let all
yeah,
that
yeah.
go, and I like the way that they filmed it with, the kid just, the smaller producer kid or whatever, just walking around from one to the other, and I'm like, "Oh, he kinda missed the basis where he should have been there," and, like, he was off enough in a nice type of way where I was like, "This is
Uh,
exactly what kids would do just like, okay, go.
Yeah.
Then he's gonna walk up to her and he turns and they come over and they try to do this, and I'm just like, "Oh, the millimeter lens that this kid's on right now, this is gonna be the sick fucking thing you've ever seen."
Oh,
But
exactly.
it was great. I very much liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's the great scene with the brother right after where Connor says, like, "You have to imagine it's not as much," and the brother goes, "Shit." You know, like, and but then he says, "This will get better." He's like, "This
Yes,
will be good,"
he
right?
breaks him down and builds
And
him up.
yeah, yeah, and he had a line that, where he said, "As long as it's in your head, that's what counts. It's an exercise in imagination." And I loved that because it's
That's
like it's the
great.
training. It's like artist training. And it doesn't matter that you don't have the production value or whatever. It's like you have the heart, you have the drive, you have the imagination, and you're practicing, you know? And I loved that over the course of the film, I felt like I don't know if the videos got better, but the songs definitely got better. I do feel like they improved over the course of the film. Like you could tell every song was better than the last,
Oh, they did,
essentially.
and his voice got better too.
Yeah,
Also sitting there
yeah,
going like, I was like, it's the one thing watching it for time. I was like, that kind of happened quick because it's first when she's like, sing, you know, aha or whatever, like take on me or something. You know,
yes.
I was just like, oh shit, this kid's got a long way to go. Then his first thought, I was like, okay, not bad, but they did have a nice progression of him getting better, so you know that they're practicing a lot. They never had like a scene where he's home alone in his closet singing to himself to show that he's getting better. You just kind of got like, hey, they care enough about this that you know that they're getting better. And I
Yeah.
really like the one friend that they went to at first because they're building. You could almost see like how the Stand By Me relationship gets built between all the kids. You know, like hey, we've decided we're gonna do something here. Okay, well, we need somebody who's good with music. And then they go to the kid who has like every fucking bit of instruments, you know, on the world, and he's got rabbits. I just love the background
Yeah, the rabbits,
having
yeah.
rabbits.
Yeah, if you want some, Andrew interpretation, I have a little
Yes,
thing
I would
about
like
the rabbits and yeah,
what is
whatnot,
the
but yeah. Well, to me okay, quickly, I'll just say that, to me, the music in this movie represents life, you know, this is your path, this is the pathway out, you know, this is like life as opposed to death. Staying here on this island with, you know, the poverty and everything, it's a dead end, you know? And the band equals your future. You know, he says in the movie, I'm a futurist. And it's like we're moving forward. And so the band, the music equals life. And notice that the first suggestion that he gives for the name of the band is La Vie, which he says means the life. So it's like the band literally represents life. And of course, rabbits are a sign of fertility, you know, Easter, right? The spring, the coming of new life. There you go. So this boy who knows all the instruments, he's your pathway
in
toward
the spring
life.
we will have growth.
That's right. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And there's one other tidbit about that that I just wanted to mention that I thought was really cool, which is that this connects back to the brother and how the brother was so inspiring. The brother says, "Don't play covers. You're not a cover band." Because the first song he records is a cover,
Right.
right? And then he plays that for the brother and he's like, hey, he wants praise, right? He's like, hey, I recorded a song. And the brother's like, you didn't, this does not deserve praise. You know, you just recorded someone else's art. He's like, you're going to try to win a girl with someone else's art. You know, that's weak.
And he goes, well, we got to practice. We got to, you know, work on something. The brother's like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, yeah. And so the brother inspires him to write original music. And I thought that there was a really cool connection that the movie did, where the kid who is the rabbit kid, his father is in a covers band. And they kind of frame him in the movie like he's a loser. You know, there's actually one really funny moment when the kids are practicing and that kid's mom goes in the bedroom by herself and turns on a vibrator,
Yes, she does.
right?
Yes.
And I think the
Changing the
implication
batteries in the vibrator or something.
yeah, she's like getting ready because she's like, the kids are busy. I can hear the music, so I know they're occupied. So this is my chance. But the implication there is that her husband is not satisfying her. You know, we never even see him in the movie. He's gone for the whole movie. So he's not there. He's not sexually satisfying his wife. He's a loser and he plays in a covers band. So he's trying to win, you know, his wife by playing someone else's art. And the brother says, don't do that, you know. And so this is a guy, the husband, he went on the wrong path. You know, he went on the path toward death. He didn't go
A
toward
very sad
life.
thing about this movie that you just kind of picked on. None of the adult relationships in this film are satisfied with their partners in any way whatsoever.
They really frame it in the context of this movie like 1980s Ireland was a very difficult place to be. They had poverty. I think there was like the potato famine. And they opened the film actually with a little news story about how hard the times are, that factories are closing and, the men are losing their jobs. And so this is a place that's a really difficult place to survive and to make a living and raise a family. And so, yeah, the parents in this movie, you're right, are struggling. We
Yeah.
see that it's implied with the rabbit kid. I forget his name. But then, of course, Connor's parents, they show you that straight up. They, they paint you the portrait that this is a family that's crumbling. This is a husband and wife where they do not love each other. They have to take Connor out of school for those reasons, for economic reasons, for financial reasons. And so his whole life is disoriented because of the financial state of the country. So they really paint it like this place, Ireland, during this era, is a place where you need to escape. There's no future here.
Yes, yes to everything you said. The only thing is, like, the potato famine happened in like the 1850s or something like that. Just pointing that one thing out, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean. There's definitely a deep
Yeah, yeah,
recession, and Ireland
yeah.
was fucking. It was not good in the 80s. Let me tell you, but the potato
Yeah,
famine
sorry.
specifically is.
Sorry for all of our Irish listeners. Sorry, you said potato famine earlier in the episode, so I had that in mind.
I might have infected your brain,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, yeah. I'm definitely not up on
actually true here for a few Irish
Yeah, I
listeners.
have I have gaps in my knowledge of Irish history for sure.
I shouldn't. I shouldn't. I'm mostly Irish, but
Ah,
I
that's
just
funny. But
don't
yeah.
know enough about it. But I do know that my mom put it
Yeah.
in my head enough.
So I just thought that was cool how, they subtly give you this image of, don't go this direction, the direction of, doing the covers. Be an original artist, be an original voice, tap into the life inside of yourself and bring it out and show that to the world, and that's the pathway to success. And that becomes the trajectory of the whole movie. And it's inspired by his brother, but very much so by the girl, Rafina,
Yeah,
and the love, the attraction that he feels, right? It's first love.
it's interesting. Those outside forces are what make him change.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a combination. It's the family life too, it's the struggle of the family life. Because if his family life had been very happy, maybe he wouldn't have been as motivated to get out of there, But the reason, ultimately skipping to the end, the reason that he actually decides to take the plunge, no pun intended, is because his family's getting a divorce, parents are getting a divorce, and the house has been sold. So it's like they're not even going to have a family. The family's disintegrating before his eyes,
Right.
and there's nowhere for him to go. And so he's
Well,
like,
he
I
picked a
might as
very
well leave.
specific path though, because you could leave your family and go in many different ways. He could have been like, oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to America and become a banker. You know what I mean? He goes
Right.
this
Yeah.
80s bank. He decides the creative route. And I think his brother has a big influence on that, but also he sees that this girl, Rafina, has a an affection to that. Once he says, "Hey, I'm this," and she has interest, you go, "Ooh, okay. Now I've got these two
Yes.
forces telling me and pushing me subtly in that direction." And then when he goes in that direction, both of them keep nurturing that. These become
Yeah.
his surrogate parents.
Yeah.
She's that, and his brother's that. So these two parents become that way. And then if you want to go into Freud, there, I guess he wants to fuck one of his parents.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Kill the father, have sex with the mother. He wants to essentially become his brother to replace it. He wants to, you know, supersede his brother. He wants to become the alpha of the family, the leader. And then he wants to, obviously be with Rafina, if that's the surrogate mother.
All right, John Carney, feel free to write into us. Give a call in. Let us know. Were you really convinced
Uh,
of the Freudian here, or was this just an amalgamation of your childhood and just blown out of proportion, or did you really want to fuck your mom?
But yeah, Rafina inspires him too, right? Like she says there's that part in the middle of the movie, which I love when they do the video about you're a beautiful sea, and they film at the ocean, and she literally jumps in, she takes the plunge and she jumps into the water and he has to save her. And then she says to him, never do anything by half, right?
Mm.
And so she's inspiring him with his art too. And I think the reason why he's attracted to her is because she is this kind of stylish model looking girl. You know, she's an artistic looking girl. And they actually contrast that really nicely with all the other girls that are in the movie. There aren't that many other girls in the movie because he goes to an all boys school. But there's the girl who answers the door when Rafina leaves, right? And he's like
Oh,
clearly not, he's
yes.
like not interested in her. And she's like very pretty girl, but she doesn't have that coolness. She doesn't have that artistic edge. You know, she doesn't inspire him.
Right.
And there was also a more subtle moment where he's doing the prom video and he's waiting for Rafina to come. And there's all the other girls that he has, and he asks them to dance, and they all dance very awkwardly, and they all look
Right.
kind of boring. And you can tell that these are the girls that are in Ireland, and all of these girls aren't inspiring him. And Rafina is like the one girl; she's the coolest girl in town, you know? Yeah, so it's like
He
she's
only
the
has
one.
eyes for her.
Yeah.
And that's actually good. It brought me into that thing of when he asks all of them to dance and they all start doing the weird awkward dance. There's only like 8 of them or whatever. That's when he goes into the fantasy in his brain of you know, the song that's actually happening and the brother and the whole James Dean and everything, and the priest comes in doing backflips and whatnot. Like he almost
Yeah.
escapes the
Oh,
reality
it's
through
so
that
good.
fantasy, you know,
Yeah.
that of that moment.
Okay. Let me tell you what happened on my first viewing of the film. Is I'm watching the movie and it's going along and I'm enjoying it. And, you know, it has all these great songs and everything. It's a funny movie. It's very cute and charming. But then it gets to that prom scene where he has the vision for the scene and he describes it. He says it's like Back to the Future, you know, and it's like all the dancing and it's an American high school prom, right? And he's got that directorial vision, you know, but he doesn't have the budget. And so, you know, he gets there and he tries to make it work, and you can tell it's just not working, you know. And the way it's done in the film is great, where it's got like the sound is like kind of low, and it's just everything's kind of like it's flat. You can feel that flatness of it, you know. And then they transition into the fantasy sequence. This fantasy sequence just got me, man. This was like my first viewing. I was bawling in the theater. I was like uncontrollably. It just hit. It was like a dagger to my heart because to me it speaks to what it means to be an artist, you know. We make art to try to reach people, to try to fix things, to try to figure ourselves out. We're trying to fix our own internal problems, and then hopefully we can reach other people and help them to fix their problems, true, right? And bring out the best in them, you know, and in yourself. And he's trying to do that for Rafina for the whole movie. He's writing her songs and he's kind of trying to inspire her, right? He's like, you've turned your life around, you know, and I admire you. I look up to you, you know, I see you as somebody who's got this great future, you know. And she's kind of like, oh, okay, that's how you see me, you know. I don't feel that way. She doesn't feel that way, you know. And in that scene, it's like his best fantasy of everyone in his life. It's like the way he wishes his life could be. If only my parents would just be happy, you know, if only they would just dance together, you know, if only my brother would get his life together and cut his hair and, you know, stand up for himself and stand up for me, you know, and be a cool guy, right? It's like, and if only the headmaster of the school were to loosen up a little bit and maybe just embrace my music, you know, maybe he would learn to have fun in life a little bit, right? And so you see all those characters and all the conflict of the film become flipped on their head. And it's like his vision is this is the way I see the world.
He sees the best in everybody.
He sees the best in everybody. And the movie shows you through his eyes. This is the way Connor Lawler sees the world. He sees the best of everything, you know, and look at all the potential, you know, of life. And he's someone who lives up to his potential. And these other people around him are struggling and they're failing. So I just thought, to me, it just spoke to what it means to be an artist.
You made me just rethink the opening of the movie when he walks into the school when it's still Steadicam before it goes static. He doesn't have, because it's all shot reverse shot. It's walking in, seeing the bully, seeing the other kids, seeing kids spit, seeing a fight. Now you're making me think that because that is his character in the end, a certain aspect of that, and then even being pulled in the bathroom with the slingshot to his face, if you look at it the way that you're saying right now, he might have always been looking at the world that way, because the shot, reverse shot, never cuts to him being scared seeing a fight or this kid spit or the bully, or even when he gets the fucking slingshot in his face, he's just standing there looking at him. He might have always seen the best in these people.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
He doesn't react scared in any of that opening sequence or anything that's going.
Right.
He's just reacting with his plain look on his face.
He's just taking it in,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's like he's absorbing, he's analyzing, he's learning, he's interpreting, right? He does what an artist does. He interprets and then he reflects it back at you. He actually shows you yourself. That's what he does to everyone in the movie. He shows you your true self. And that sequence of the prom is like, that's the way he sees all the people. That's the greatest potential that they all have. If only they could just get their lives together.
And it's interesting. He shows everyone their true self throughout that whole beginning of the movie. And then when he finds his true self, then he's able to express his true self, call out the bully, do it through songs, do other things. Okay. Yeah, I might need to
Yeah.
rework on this one
Yeah.
through
It's
Andrew's eyes
yeah.
now. I will bring up one of the most interesting structural things about the film that I've never actually seen another film like this.
Mm.
Is it's the quickest transition from losing a love and then being back. It's one scene in between.
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh, she's gone." And I actually looked. I go, "Wow, there's like 35 minutes of this movie left, or 40 minutes. It was something around there." And I go, "Okay, so we're gonna have like he's gonna be sad, write a song, go through a bunch of stuff, and then she'll come back at the end." There's literally, it cuts to him. It's like 3 shots or something. It cuts to him back at the sea, and he's playing with the acoustic guitar. And it cuts.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is a nice little callback. He's gonna write a thing." Next scene, right in front of her house, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not her. I'm the sister." And I was like, I literally looked at my watch. I was like, "It's been 90 seconds since he thought she left." I was like, "This is the most interesting. Hey, she's gone, but then she's here." And something about it felt really real. It didn't have the movie cliche that I was expecting, where, oh, you've lost the girl. She's gonna go away for a long period of time. You'll meet up with her in a year, something like that. It was literally like, oh no, she left with that guy. She was literally back 2 days later, and then there she was at the the steps where he first met her.
Yeah.
And that was it was a very interesting thing that threw me in a good way. I was like, wow, it struck me. I was like, I've never seen that in the film before.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah. I liked her embarrassment when she came back because it was like the embarrassment of I tried and I failed, And so she pretends to be someone else. She's like, no, no, I'm Rafina's sister, right?
And
And
that's
it's
where
like,
she does look younger to me as well.
yeah,
She didn't have the
yeah,
makeup. She had her hair different. And you're like, oh, wow, you do look 15. I was like, what is
yeah,
this?
yeah. That was her low point.
There's another shot that I love, which is them, him and Serafina, or that's her name, right?
Rafina.
Rafina, sorry. Him and Rafina walking through the graveyard. It's a nice, real Steadicam shot that goes with them. And it's just a nice shot on its own, but their acting is really good. And they're young kids. Like he was like 15 or something at the time.
Yeah. He looks young and he sounds young.
Yeah.
Phenomenal casting.
Yeah.
I mean, all the kids, amazing chemistry. They're all like, they feel so real. They're so quirky and they each have their own charisma. Amazing cast.
That's why I like brought up Stand By Me. It has that young kid feel. Like when you're watching it, you remember what it's like. And I think that's an important point of the movie that he's trying to do there with this is like, hey, this is what it's like to be a young kid. And these are some of the situations that they're in, and here's some of the feels you have. He does it in not a Cameron Crowe way, but he has a very 1980s nostalgia to it. And it's just done really well. It's hard to do it. It's hard to walk that tightrope where you go, and the movie never falls into the place where you're like, oh my God, this fucking sappy scene. Like that never happens. And that's really hard to go for some of the things that they're going for in this movie and not have that feeling.
Yeah.
I think it works really well.
Yeah, I love the 80s-ness. It almost in a way feels like a memory. It feels like a character who has made it out and then he's thinking back on what was his life like, and everything does feel kind of heightened. Yeah.
Well, that's when you just say a character who made it out. A few things I read about it was that the director had no, he says this is a heightened experience of what he went through when he was younger. He did have this. I was going to like a private school, this and that, and I
There
was
you
in
go.
music, and I had this going on, and all that type of stuff. And you could feel it. That's why I'm kind of saying Cameron Crowe. Like there's things in his movies that you feel that he was going for, and emotions that he was feeling. And in that John Hughes way, with the same thing, he's very good at going, "Hey, this is what it felt like to be a teenager." And now I still access that here when I'm like 40 years old or whatnot directing a movie, but he's able to get back into that and put it through a film and get it through actors. And I think this has that heart where it actually works in that way.
Yeah, totally. It feels so personal. I thought that too. I mean, I didn't research it, but you can just tell. I feel like John Carney is telling his story, that he
Yeah, and it
probably went through so much of this. It feels so personal.
big time. And in his other two movies that I haven't seen either, Once and then Being Again.
Begin again. Yeah, begin again.
Begin Again. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just looked into them a bit. I watched their trailers because I was like, oh, let me see like what are his themes. It's the same type of thing in that
Yeah.
music and this and that. So I got to watch both of those. And then there's Flora and Son, which I almost want to jump that to watching it first, not watching these in order because the brother's in that one as well. The same
Okay. Yeah. Right. Right.
is
Yeah.
in that one. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta see this because I want to watch more shit with him in it.
Yeah. I love both of John Carney's other films that you mentioned. He's fantastic director, and I would love to pick those movies because I love both of those other ones.
This episode is brought to you by Rewind Society, a private club for analog purists and those who still believe the tracking knob was mankind's greatest invention. Each month, members receive a hand-labeled, unmarked VHS tape in the mail. What's on it? That's not for us to say. Could be a taped over broadcast of WCW Nitro, a local furniture commercial from 1992, or something that was never meant to be recorded. All we ask is that you watch it alone, at night, and please, be kind, rewind. Apply now at Rewind Society. Use code Andrew and Greg .tapehiss to skip the beta testing waitlist. Rewind Society. The past is calling. Pick up a landline. But we forgot to talk about the bully.
Okay.
That's still where I didn't know what this movie was going to be.
Okay.
When he, holds up the fucking slingshot to his face, and you learn something about the character there. He doesn't flinch at all from that specific moment there. He doesn't have
Yeah.
anything. He's still, debating the fact, am I gonna fucking dance? Sure, I'll do this weird dance for you. And he's like, oh, go over there and take your pants down or do whatever the fuck. And like, that's the point. He's just like, no. But he doesn't fight back. He's just sitting there with this thing that could like blind him for the rest of his life, looking into that, not holding up his hand, not doing anything. And he's weirdly just calling this kid's bluff.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're not gonna do this shit.
Yeah.
And that's when the bully kid walks away. But it said a lot about that character there at that opening. And again, at that point, I was still just like, what type of Andrew movie could this be? I never thought it was turning into a musical. He's like, okay, so
That's
it's
great.
where the kid gets raped. There's going to be a deep nonsense that happens here. It's going to be terrible. It's going to, be a film that just cuts to black at the end. And, life is not so I had a very from what I'm describing here, it seems like I had a very you were going to be showing me some Eastern European very downtrodden film that would make you blow your head off at the end, but it was the exact opposite at the end of the movie. It was the most
Yeah.
inspirational,
Yeah.
hey, follow your dreams type of film.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you'll probably learn this about me. I love a positive, happy, inspiring movie. I love these kind of movies. There's a certain, of course, quality to something very serious, something that dissects the horrors of life. One of my all-time favorite movies is a Russian war film called Come and See. I don't know if you know that movie.
No, I thought you were going to say Russian art for a second or something.
One of the most depressing, horrific movies ever made. It's an absolute masterpiece. And it's just shocking. It's just beautifully, gorgeously shocking. So, I can appreciate that kind of cinema. But, that's not the kind of cinema that you throw on a Saturday night, for fun. And a movie like this, like Sing Street, to me this is my kind of movie. I love this kind of movie. Yeah. When I was watching it, I just had a smile on my face the whole time. There's a certain experience to watching a movie when you already love the movie. And the cool thing about this one is that I've seen it a few times, but I haven't seen it that many times. I haven't watched it like hundreds of times, like you with Jaws. I've watched it maybe 4 or 5 times over the course of my life, over the last like 10 years. So this viewing was great because I hadn't seen it in a while. And I just played it, and it's just like immediately, giant smile on my face, and I'm just glowing for the whole film. And I just appreciated so many little details. It's almost like too many to mention. It's like so many. You mentioned the bully. That's one of my favorite things about the movie. The whole subplot with that bully character. It's just beautiful. It's like it starts off as a challenge, as a test. It starts out where he's the new kid, right? So he's the vulnerable one, and the bully is going to test him. Okay, let's see, fresh meat. Let's see if I can pick on the new kid. Let's test him. Let's see what he's made of. Maybe I can find a weak link and I can bully this kid and I can get out my rage on this kid, and so it becomes a test. And so he does that scene with the slingshot, and you're right. And Connor kind of stands up to him. He's like, no, I'm not going to do what you say. And the bully, I thought was interesting. The bully just says, okay. And he walks away. He kind of does it with a little bit of an aggravation. Like you can tell it's not over yet, but he actually backs down. Essentially, Connor sort of subtly gets the edge on him like a little bit. And now it becomes the test throughout the entire movie.
And that's how he meets the other producer kid who should have been like, "Oh, you should have just taken your pants down," or like all of
Yeah,
us have done
yeah.
to him. You know what I mean?
And I love the moment, the movie does a great job of the showing, not telling when they are shooting the music video, and the bully walks by with his dad.
Father. Ugh.
Yeah, and the dad hits the kid, and then the kid kicks the trash can.
And the kid gives him the slit across the throat.
Yeah,
Hey,
and it's
my dad
like,
just beat me. You saw it. I'm coming after you again.
yeah, like father, like son. And so the movie very simply, shows you we can paint the whole portrait of this kid's home life, that we know what that kid's going through. And I actually thought it was wonderful because, yes, this kid is one of the antagonists of the film, but he actually has sympathy to the character, that by showing that moment, you actually feel bad for that kid. And in a way, you kind of like him and you are rooting for him a little bit as well. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the scene where Connor actually finally does stand up to that bully, like fully, right? He's been tested for the whole film, and there's finally that moment where they actually have a confrontation in front of the whole school. And Connor says, "You're living in my world. I'm not
Oh,
living in
yes.
yours." Right? And then he has a line that I've always remembered. It's always stuck in my head. He said, "You only have the power to stop things, but not to create." And as an artist, I'm just like, yes. I'm like, yeah, man, that's what it means to be an artist.
It was very good, and it was very bold of him to stage it where when he walks by him, he walks really close to him. And as he
Mm.
looks at like when somebody could punch you and when they could be doing that, I was just like, that's a very bold move. You're super confident that you're just like you just verbally destroyed this person and mentally destroyed them, and now you're gonna walk so close by them because you're that confident that he's not gonna fucking take a swing at you. Because that at the end of that scene could have been this guy just goes, "Well, fuck it, I'm punching you right in the face as you walk."
Yeah, yeah, he was risking that. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
risked it. But that's the beauty of that moment, is that he's risking that. He's risking the embarrassment. He's facing the fear, right? He's facing the pain. And he's saying, "You know what? By this point in the movie, he's been through a lot. His parents are having a divorce. He's been physically assaulted by the teacher, by the headmaster of the school. He's changed his hair. He's tried different hairstyles. He's tried different outfits. He's gone through different musical styles. He's trying to find himself over the course of the film. So he's been on this up and down journey. He's had the girl, dump him. she's with another guy, so he's had all these struggles and he's been bullied by this kid. So he's been through a lot by that point in the movie. And it's like he's finally got to a point where he's built up the strength and he's built up the confidence and he's like, "You know what? I'm not afraid of getting punched in the face anymore. I'm going to say this to this kid and then whatever happens happens.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be afraid of the consequences. I'm just going to go for it. I'm either going to squash this kid or yeah, I'll get punched. Like whatever."
I think he had the confidence of seeing the kid shaken enough, going like, "I said something that rocked you to your core where you're not gonna come back at me." And I think that's a little bit of what gave him the confidence to walk by him that closely as well, going like, "I see, I just said something that cut to the deepness in you." And I think in a weird way, he's like, "I think I earned a little bit of respect from you, and I'm gonna walk by right now. I'm showing
Yeah.
the same thing I showed you in that bathroom, but I'm a new person right now, and you're not gonna fuck with me."
If I could just skip to the end, I'll just tell you that one of my absolute favorite moments in the movie and my favorite shot is when they finally at the end of the movie knock on that kid's door
Oh,
and
yeah,
they
no, I
and they
love that scene.
convince him, right? They convince him. They're like, a band is like a family, and we all look out for each other. We all have each other's backs.
It's a
And
perfect the accent, I love it. Love it. That's
and they win him over. They win him over. And
and they do it on his own turf, which is the
yeah,
importance about that scene.
yeah,
He can't be the bully. When you open the door and hear the father in the back screaming, "Go get me a fucking beer, go do this," you're seeing
right.
what's vulnerable.
Yeah, great point. And then that slow motion shot of them all walking out together.
And he gives the father the finger as he
Yeah.
puts on the jacket. It's like, dude, I was thinking he's
Yeah.
gonna have to go home that night. It's like,
Yeah.
hopefully his father's drunk enough where he's asleep and forgets it. But I was just like, oh man,
Yeah.
it's the Brat Pack, Rat Pack walking away right there. And it's the slow motion shot in fucking Reservoir Dog. The team is being
Yep.
balanced
Yep,
and
exactly.
they're young kid.
And I thought it made perfect sense because it's so true. Every band needs a roadie. And then it pays off at the very, very end during that performance. Is that then there's a kid that jumps on stage and the bully kid jumps on stage and he throws the kid off and then he kind of does this giddy laugh. He's like, ah, and it's like he can now beat people up for a living. It's like his dream come true,
Yeah,
and
and
it's
you get
like,
to go to the fucking priest and smash the fucking when the priest is turning the lights on, you
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
take the what is they call fire extinguishers?
Yeah, fire
Fire extin
extinguisher. Connor has harnessed that kid, and like used it to his own advantage. So it's like he's tamed the beast.
Well, he gave the piece purpose because that kid
Yeah.
hasn't had any purpose in his life.
Yeah, you're right. He kind of frames it like, I see something in you, right? You have potential. You are meant for greater things. Connor has so much ambition and vision for this greater future. He has so much that it's enough to spare. And other kids get caught up in his orbit, and he becomes the sun who lights the way for all of these other kids around him, and they all now orbit him like planets around the sun, around the light.
Which makes you feel bad for when he gets on a boat with a girl and ditches all of them. What the fuck are they gonna do up when they wake up the next morning? They're like, "Where's our lead singer?"
Well, but I would hope that he's going there and then he's going to bring everybody with him. That's the way I
A
imagine it.
week later,
I
when
hope
his heart
so.
gets broken and she's beating up with him, he's gonna be like, "Guys, I'm bringing the boat back. We're all gonna fit on. Put all the instruments on. And
Yeah.
we're coming back to England."
And I loved how Rafina actually nicknames him Cosmo, which is the cosmos, the stars, right?
Oh, good one.
So his name is beyond. He's meant for, we mentioned that in the Clerks episode that I said there's a song lyric in the film where they say the shooting star. And, it's like you're meant for greater things. And that's Connor, that's Cosmo,
That's
So I
good.
thought that was wonderful. Yeah, beautiful.
It's so cool. Yeah, those are always the great buddy up moments whenever you have the two, they do it a lot of times in sequels and stuff like that, but
Yeah, right. Like the villain becomes a part of the team of heroes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's always a great trope. It's always it works well every time. The audience likes seeing that. It's a great arc.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
A dolly shot that I really liked was during the exams. It's like 1 hour in and they're all taking their exams and it's going by past all
Oh
the
yeah,
like
yes, I know
catty-corner
which one
little
you're talking
shot.
about.
Yeah, it's a fantastic little one, and then it ends on the bully going, "Suck my balls." And it's just like it's a great little shot showing them
Yeah.
not caring about school anymore. And they're all just kind of like doing these little things, and they're like, "Oh, we've been distracted, and we kind of, have been so into this artsy music shit that, we're not paying attention to our school anymore." And kind of in a weird way, they're setting up the movie as into like, well, why should you even? Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna graduate school and be in a depression like your parents? Like, it's not like, oh, graduate.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the way to fucking law school. It's like there it doesn't seem like there's much of a life after this anyway that they're setting up. They're not giving you
Yeah. Yeah.
once you graduate, great things are gonna happen. It seems like the parents are relying on the older brother to fucking have a job or some shit. Like,
That's so true. Yeah. And visually, that shot actually links to the scene where they win the bully over
right.
because visually
All
it
of them
links
and
them
then
all
him.
together.
Yeah.
These are all the kids who are doing poorly in school. Why? Because they're distracted by other things. And so they're all connected.
It's almost like a bingo game from the top. It's like
Yes,
3,
yes,
4,
and it
5
goes
right
like
in
in
a
this
row.
it goes like diagonally and
Yeah.
it connects them all together and the bully's the last one. And then the bully's the last one to join the team.
And you brought up the scene too with the priest, like, very much, abusing this child in any way whatsoever, and then having he's having a power trip over him and going like, "Oh, you can use my bathroom," and there's a very sexual, like, connotation there
Oh
going on.
yeah.
And then, specifically when he brings him into the room and he's fucking, like, the other bathroom, drags him in there and is, like, drowning him in there, there's a very, like, creepy
Yeah.
sexual fucking shit that's definitely something is being said here, and it's not too subtle of what this guy is enjoying right now within, dominating this young child.
Yeah, definitely. And so that becomes another huge arc of the film. And one of the key subplots is, the bully is like the minor antagonist, but this headmaster, he's the number one antagonist of the film. And the end, that final sequence of the film, when Connor does the concert, that's his way of conquering the headmaster. That's it's like the confrontation, that's the battle, and he's gonna win, and he's got his battle plan. It's actually like a battle plan, right? Where he prints out all of the Xerox copies of the guy's face, and he's gonna cut them out into masks, and he's got this whole strategy. And he wrote the song, and you see him writing the song ahead of time. So yeah, and I realized what I ended up thinking this time watching it is that sequence is him essentially conquering this place, this little town in Ireland, this little place where he comes from. He's conquered it. All the obstacles in this place, he's overcome all
And
of
he's
them.
gonna burn it down.
Yeah, essentially. But metaphorically, he's gonna do it through art.
Mhm.
He's gonna do it by singing a song, right? By sticking it to the man. And that's why it's such a great movie for artists. That's why I wanted you to watch it, because I'm like, this is a movie for the artists out there, man. It makes art like the coolest thing in the world. It says art can change the world, by singing a song that's more powerful than any rules you can make. The rules of man, the human created laws, that people tell you have to follow, those aren't real. Those don't exist. Art is real. Emotion, the feeling inside of yourself, that's what's real. Connor speaks the truth because he speaks to your heart. He creates a feeling and he inspires people. The headmaster, he doesn't inspire people. He holds people down. He puts your face into the sink. He tries to drown you. He tries to kill your ambition. He tries to kill your expression. You dye your hair, you wear makeup. He says, no, don't do that. Right. And Connor says, yes, I am going to do that. Whether that's me or not, I don't know if that's who I am truly, but I'm going to try it. Right. Because that's a part of my journey. That's a part of my expression.
And
You're
ladies and
just
gentlemen, that's the opening of the podcast.
you're just giving me the fist, like, yeah, man. I mean, but that's what this movie is. It's like a battle cry, right? It's like it speaks to your soul. It's amazing.
Um, yeah, no, with that. That's
Uh,
fucking great. That's fucking great. We got the fight out of Andrew in that one. Whenever we do that, it's great.
oh my god. I mean, but it's like a protest song. I mean, he's like, "Who are you to tell me what to do?"
This is
Right?
Bob Dylan.
Yeah, yeah, it's a protest song, and he's like, "I'm not gonna wear the brown shoes," and I don't know all the lyrics, but yeah, that's his version of conquering, the ultimate kind of suppression, the ultimate fear, the ultimate feeling of death of like my life is going nowhere. I'm just gonna be overcome with, doing what other people tell me to do. And it's like,
Living
no.
other people's lives.
Yeah, and he's not gonna let that happen. And so that's why the art is the life. That's why the band is the life, and so, yeah, he's gonna do that. Yeah.
Man, that was great.
You really got me on like a
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, I
We
felt like a
gutsy about
train. I'm like, I was like picking up steam there.
I love that.
Yeah. Let's just since we're talking about the ending, let's just then talk about the last scene because like once Connor does that concert and it's like he's conquered this town, and that now clears the path and then he wins Rafina, right? And now she says, "Okay, I'm with you now. Like I will follow your lead." And he's going to lead them across the ocean, to London, to a brighter future. And then you go into that final sequence of, on the boat and like you said with the brother and the brother is,
Oh.
helping them and yeah, and you get that emotional moment between him and the brother.
Well, that's great because the brother hugs and kisses the girlfriend, before he even has his own brother because they're ready to be like, okay, goodbye, like, and doing it in the most, fucking brother Irish way that one could. And then she jumps out of the boat and gives the brother a hug and kisses him on the cheek, which then is almost the impetus that it's like, now it's okay for
Yeah.
brothers to have an embrace. And it was a nice, interesting moment there. Because if they didn't have that, you'd have a little feeling of something. But when they do it, you're like, ah, brothers. Like it hits it even more. And it was a really good, well planned execution.
It felt like Connor had been talking to both of them about the other one for the whole movie, right? And it was one of those things where they feel like they know each other even though they've never met, right? And they have this respect for each other immediately even though they've never met because they know how special they both are to Connor. So they have this in common, and so there's an immediate connection. And I think the brother likes the girl.
He goes, oh, when she enters the house before they run away together, oh, so you're the girl.
Yeah,
You're
so
there.
this must be Rafina, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
Rafina.
okay, it's like he's warm and welcoming immediately, yeah.
You're his other muse.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and Rafina has one line where she says, like, you talk about your brother a lot. Like, he must mean a lot to you, right? Yeah, so she knows. Yeah, and they say goodbye, and then there's this boat sequence, and this is the final sequence of the film. And I tell you, man, when I first saw the film and every time I watch it, I mean, the movie has amazing scenes along the way. The music, the songs in the film are just incredible. I mean, every song is great, and I love every single one. And some of them are incredibly moving. And then there's that scene in the middle with the prom that I just absolutely adore. And so the movie has these amazing moments along the way, but when it gets to that final boat sequence and he takes off, and they play the song, the Adam Levine song, we're never gonna go if we don't go now. We're never gonna go if we don't find
I
out.
didn't pick up that that's Adam Levine because Adam Levine is in his
Begin Again.
he's in Begin Again.
That's right. So they
Wow.
had a
Okay.
relationship. So he has a beautiful song in Begin Again called Lost Stars that he did for the director John Carney. And then John Carney asked him to do the final song of this film. And so the lyrics are so inspiring and it's this beautiful song. And so it's used as the driving emotion of this boat sequence. And I just love that boat sequence, man. It just like, yeah, it gets me every time.
What's the metaphor with the storm? The storm coming.
There is, yeah. I loved that. I love that because what it suggests is that, the pathway is not going to be smooth sailing. It's not going to be smooth sailing the whole way.
His brother's no longer paving the way to make it easy for him.
That's right. That's right. It's metaphorically now you are going to hit choppy waters. That will happen, right? You have this girl, and you're not alone either. You got the girl. She's relying on you, right? So she's in the back.
And she's
You're
behind him.
driving. It's a metaphor for life.
Yeah. And he's literally plowing. He's plowing
That's
through the
right.
sea with his
Yeah.
grandfather's boat.
Yes, with the legacy of your family, right? Your ancestors have given you the tools to forge ahead, right? Your grandfather's boat, your brother's advice, the machete chopping down the forest, right? And now you have this girl in the back, and it's a metaphor for life. It's a metaphor for relationships, marriage, everything, right? She's relying on you. You're the one in the driver's seat, and she trusts you. And now you better make it work. But do you know what's going to happen? It's not going to be smooth sailing. You're going to hit choppy waters. It's inevitable because that's how life is. Because what I love so much about the ending is that even though he has the courage to go, what it says is, aha, even when you have those turning points in life, you muster up all the courage. Your entire life journey brought you to this point where you can finally have the courage and make this big change. Well, guess what's going to happen now? Every ending is just a new beginning, and now the struggle starts all over again because now you start from step one in London, and the whole journey of that last scene is a metaphor for that because they hit these waves, these rocky waves, and it's like spitting down water on them, and it's actually like an unpleasant. And they almost hit into this giant barge, right? The barge comes in and honk, and they almost crash into it, and he has to like swerve, right? And so it's like you have some close calls, it's like you can't just coast.
And that's a good metaphor too, because he makes the best of that. He rides behind the wake of the ship in the easy, non-choppy waters, and they're going to go right behind this boat. So you could have slammed into this boat, but then he goes, no, wait, let's make the best of this. And now let's go in the non-choppy waters behind this boat, and let's ride as easy a sailing as we can do to follow this, because that's the boat that they say is going to England. They point out earlier in the movie when they look at that ship and they go, oh, look off there in the distance. See that ship going? But yes, they're going over there to England.
Yeah. The boat is almost like his brother, charting the course for him, and he's riding behind,
Good one.
in the slips. Now he's literally in a slipstream.
Oh, you bastard. All right, there you go. That's checkmate.
Right? Yeah. So, yeah, and it's because he stops the boat and because he gains the control. So he deals with the conflict, and then there's this giant danger of like you might hit into the boat, and then because he has the awareness and he's prepared and he's like, okay, I fixed the problem, and now that problem seems to have a way to actually help you now. That's kind of how life is, that once you conquer your problem, it's like your vision becomes clear now, and it's like you see the path, and now all you have to do is follow that direction.
Yeah, that was really good.
And so that's the end of the movie. So the movie ends on the hopeful note of, he might have more struggle, but he will figure it out because he's had the practice. He's learned how to conquer those problems. He's learned how to conquer the conflict. Yeah, it's like he's developed the skill. And so when you develop the skill to do things like that, you can then apply it to lots of different situations. It's like the mindset is actually the most important thing. If you know how to handle it, you say, okay, I'm just going to grab that wheel. I'm going to try to keep it steady. I'm going to react. I'm going to have awareness, and I'm going to get myself out of this. And that's what he does.
That's really good.
And that's why I think that first viewing, I got out of the theater and I was just like, man, I want to just go make a movie. Like, I want to get in my boat, my metaphorical boat, and I want to drive across the ocean, and I want to make my dreams come true. I love movies like that.
It only took you 8 more years, but you did it.
I love movies like that. I love movies that, inspire people to follow their heart and follow their dreams. To me, that's one of the most important messages that anybody can give as an artist, is a message of hope and inspiration. We live in a world where there's so much hardship, and everybody's life has conflict, and there's so many obstacles in life. And it doesn't matter who you are, you will have obstacles in your life. And so I feel like this is a movie that says, here is the way. You know, the movie shows you the way. Here's what you do to conquer those obstacles. Be Connor Lawler. Yeah. So I adore the movie.
Yeah, it was very good viewing.
Yeah. It's one of my all time favorites. Yeah.
I have to say, I had a good viewing.
I had a good viewing. I'm living life right now. I just want to watch something that feels like a friend. I had a good viewing. This is life. Life's kind of grand when it's like that.
All right. All right. Very happy to hear that.
I very much enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to what I enjoyed too. You didn't just show me a new film here. You introduced me to a new director who also has an 80s theme throughout his stuff and a music thing throughout his stuff, but musical in that it's accessible. I don't really like musicals. I like West Side Story. I like the original Oliver, but I'm not like a big musical type person thing. Like if you said me this movie, you're like, oh, go watch Sing Street. It's a musical. I would have been like,
okay,
oh, I'm not looking forward to that. But you go watch this movie, Sing Street. And that's why I like not knowing anything, because I can watch that first 10 minutes and go, where the fuck is this movie going? We're already in a bathroom 8 minutes into this movie in some fucking 80s depression. And this kid's got a fucking slingshot pointed at his eyeballs and he doesn't give a fuck. And that's what I like going, where the fuck is this movie going? I like the ambiguity of that. So that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed this very much.
It's a musical, but I love musicals like this, which are about rock singers, so that it's not a musical where it's like they stop and do dance numbers.
No, it's not that. It's not we start randomly, like the teacher's like, you didn't do your homework, and he's just like, oh, I didn't do my homework today, and like everyone starts dancing around the room. It's not one of those, no.
Yeah. It's a beautiful film. I think it might be the movie that I would say best captures what it means to be an artist. At least the way I see it. The way I see being an artist. John Carney and I, connection. We see it the same way. I'm like, yeah, man. I agree, you know. I see it that way too. I feel a deep personal connection to this movie. Yeah. And I wanted to share it with you because I thought for that reason, because I thought you might have that as well, you know, because I know you're very artistic, you're very deep feeling, and obviously have had experience creating art. And I'm sure you've gone through struggle and conquered demons yourself. So I thought you would connect with the film. I hoped that you would.
Oh, no, I definitely did. The big impact for me was that the For Brothers Everywhere. It weirdly made me feel like what it was like to have a sibling, and I don't have any. And I think that was its biggest impact on me in a weird way, because I've never gotten that. What's it like that? But really close friends, but people always go, oh, having a brother or having a sister, like it's different. I think the film made me feel, oh, got it. That's what it's like. And I think that's a hard thing to do. I've never watched a movie that gave me the perspective of going, oh, I get it. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
And that was its biggest, I wouldn't say impact, but maybe it was its biggest eye-opening. Oh, I've never seen a film do that. And it did it really well. And I was having that feeling throughout it, specifically, throughout the whole second half. And then when it came up and it said For Brothers Everywhere, I went, oh shit. I was like, okay, got it. I was like, that's good. I got the whole art angst film, artist, and I was like, that's really cool. That's awesome. But for some reason the brothers thing hit me where I was like, I see it. I see what that is. And it was, that was impactful. It hits on many levels.
You've gained a brother by doing this podcast.
Thank you, my friend. You as well.
So, yeah, Hazel's the same. She doesn't have a sibling, and she talks about that a lot, actually. She talks about...
Did she wish she had one?
Yes. She talks about how she wishes that she had a sibling.
I think I asked my mom when I was like 3 or 4 years old. She was like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? And I said, like, a brother.
Wow.
And I think she kind of asked me like 2 years after that or something like that. Like, I think it was just as like a joke, but she wouldn't like test. And she was like, "Oh, we're thinking about having another kid," and I was just like, "Oh, I'd kill him." And I was I was over this
Yeah,
testing to see like,
yeah,
"Oh, where would he be at?" It's not like they decided not to have a kid because I said that, but it was just like, "Oh, where's he at with this now?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm over that. I'm over that."
yeah, exactly,
They
yeah.
bought me My Buddy instead of having a kid when I was, like, around 3 or 4 or 5 or something like that. I was like, "Oh, that's good enough."
Yeah. Yeah, you think you want a sibling until you actually have one, and then
And then it's a little different.
yeah. I have a younger brother. And, it's funny because Hazel, when she was watching the movie, she was like, "You're like the older brother in this movie." And I was, like, a little offended. I'm like, "But I don't live at home with my parents." Like, I'm like, I have drive and ambition,
She
like, I
saw
think I'm
only
a
the
little.
good things in the older
Yeah.
brother. You saw all the
Yeah.
bad things.
Yeah, exactly, but she did. She said, "Yeah, but you have his passion and his enthusiasm," and she liked the scene where he was saying, "This Duran Duran video, this is art." She's like, "Oh my god, you do that." You watch movies and you're like, "This is art," and so she saw the good. But then I also think that I have a big side to me that is like Connor, where I'm like an artist, I create art, I just go for it. And I connected to that character so strongly when I saw the film. And so I think I relate to a lot of the characters in this movie. And I also switched schools when I was about Connor's age, a little bit younger, when I was in 6th grade. So not high school, but it was close to high school. It was middle school. And I switched schools and I had the experience of being the new kid and I had a bully. I had that experience of the class bully saw the new kid and said, "Oh, I'm going to pick on that kid." And I had to conquer that test. And I stood up to him as well, like Connor in the movie. I asked my mom, I said, "Hey, I'm getting picked on at school. Like, what should I do?" And she was like, "Well, you know what? The key with bullies is you have to show them it doesn't bother you. If you act like they're getting under your skin, that's what they want, and they'll just keep doing it. And so you have to just stand up and say, I don't care what you're saying to me or what you're trying to do." And I tried it and it started working. So it's like I had to learn how to do that. And so and then of course the shooting videos and being an artist, and I always hated rules and I hated the teachers, and they would tell you what to do. I hated that. And I was always late to class and I would always get the tardy slip. "Andrew, you got to go to detention because you got the tardy slip." And I'd be like, "This is bullshit."
You don't seem like you'd be a tardy person. Wow.
Oh my god, I hated school. I hated school so much. I hated following rules. I hated having to, live my life according to the way that other people tell you how to live it. I just thought that didn't make sense. To me, it's like I want freedom. I want to follow the spirit of like, what do I want to do? I don't want to spend my time doing what you tell me you think I should do. I want to spend my time the way I want to spend my time. I'm the master of my future. And but like when you're a kid in school, you don't have that. It's like you're like you said, Shawshank Redemption. It's like it feels like a prison. School can oftentimes feel like a prison, and I felt that way. So man, when I saw this movie, I just connected like across the board. And I come from a actually pretty happy family. My parents are still together, they love each other. So I'm not a child of divorce. And my parents never argued with each other. So that is like one of the differences. But I mean, obviously, every family goes through trouble. No parents are perfect. And so, my family had conflict. And so, like the opening scene of this movie is the parents are fighting and he plays the song and he actually sings what the parents are fighting. He sings what they're saying when they're fighting. "If we didn't share a mortgage, I would leave you." And I immediately felt connected to the movie at the beginning. And I could definitely relate even to the family stuff. I could relate to like a family that's like in turmoil and it's like you're trying to figure yourself out and it's like, who am I in this big scary world? And so yeah, I just connected to the movie completely, very, very deeply.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared it. I very much enjoyed it. It's one of those that, I wish I watched when I was younger too, 'cause
Mm,
I would've, connected to it. It's weird though, I don't know if I would've connected to it as much in 2016.
mm,
I think if it had come out in the late '90s, I think I would have super connected to it then. If I saw it in 2016, I think I was at a certain time where I was just like,
Okay.
movies. I don't know. I had 1 or 2 years there where I was just like
Yeah.
giving up, and I was just like, I just don't want to see movies right now. And I think that was kind of that time period. I had a few years of that kind of quickly.
Yeah. I saw it, I was actually still living with my parents at that time. I had moved out and then I had kinda crashed, and then I did the recovery of like, "Hey, mom and dad, can I, temporarily come back? And, like, I promise I'll leave, but can I just come back?" You know?
So you saw it at a perfect. That's literally the perfect time to watch it.
I saw it while living with my parents, being a little older, having that, like, frustration of, like, I wanna get out there and make something of my life, and I was living with my parents, and then I went and saw this movie,
Oh
and
man,
I
that's the
yeah,
perfect fucking time.
yeah, yeah, so you're right, it hit me at, like, the perfect time in my life, and it carved a place in my heart, and now it just has, like, this special place in my heart.
So good.
Yeah, for sure.
Which
Yeah.
one is the next one that I should watch? Because I do want to watch the I think Floren's Son is the one with the brother, because I'm very much in
Yeah,
like
you
that
know
fucking
what?
act right now. But
I really love Begin Again, but since I'm a orderly person who loves structure, I would
you
just
want
go
me to go
back
back
and
to
yeah,
once?
just start with once, watch
Okay.
that one, and then watch Begin Again. And
Okay.
I bet that other people would say Begin Again is actually their least favorite. People love Sing Street. Once is very well regarded. It had a Broadway adaptation. It was turned into a hit Broadway musical. So Once is a beloved film. So I would go back to that one. Yeah, and that one's very indie. That's his first movie. It's like shot on the street. It's like a Clerks thing where he shot it on the street for like, 20 grand or something. It's like
Was
really
that digital?
I don't know actually at the time. I'm not sure. That was made a number of years ago. It
Yeah,
might have actually been shot on
2007. It's
film.
probably not.
It might have been shot on film, yeah, back
You
then.
know,
I have a question for you. What was your favorite song in the film?
it wasn't the slow song. I'll tell you that. I thought the slow song
To
was
Find You,
interesting.
right? Is that what it was?
Which one?
To Find You? That was at the prom when they say, "Don't play the slow song, you're gonna lose the
Yeah,
crowd."
I thought that one moment, because the 2 other guys go, "Don't play the slow song," because what are those guys gonna do? You brought the whole band there, and the drummer and the other kid just have to sit there as you sing, and the other guy does piano, and it cuts the wide shot, and I'm like, "Of course they're saying don't play the song," not only because it'll kill the mood in the room, but the 2 of them are like, "Dude, I play drums. There's no drums in this fucking slow song, and I have to sit here." Um, ah.
But that comes at a key moment because that's, like, him calling out to her,
It
you
is.
know? Yeah.
I liked that aspect. I For some reason, I just felt it through the drummer and the other kid, because
Yeah.
they
Okay.
when they cut to the wire, they're really not doing anything, and I was like, "I care enough about my friends to, like, not do this for them," and literally, you see the drummer sitting there with his fucking little, drumsticks just in his hand, just going, "Okay." I gotta fucking wait through this. And they try not to cut to a close up of the 2 of them, but in the wide shot, you see
No.
them sitting there, and I was just like,
Okay.
"Dude, your friends are like, you're having this moment for yourself, but this is about the band. It's about all of you, and you alienate the rest of the people there and your 2 friends. So this is like a very selfish moment, which I guess he's got to get through." So
So the band was right, that one lost you.
yeah, that one
Okay, they lost Greg with the
they
slow
lost me
song.
in that one. I was like, this is good for you and your therapy session, but you can go do that in a closet by yourself. Um, I don't know. I feel he really came into his own at the. I did like the last song with the mask on. He's sweating.
Yeah.
I was thinking though the whole time. I'm glad when she came in the end, he had the mask up on his head, because I was going, if you're singing into a piece of cardboard, the microphone's not going to pick you up. I kept
Right.
my audiophile aspect of me was going, that's not going to work. They should have cut the bottom half of it so you could still see his mouth.
Okay.
Um, but again, I'm pointing out most of those just is semi just like moments that flew into my brain and went out the other. But I did like that moment when she entered in and he was singing that song. I can't remember the lyrics of it. There's one about a car or something about stealing
Yeah.
a car.
Drive it like you stole it.
Yeah.
That's life.
I was
And in
into
that
that.
song, I said "La vie" equals the life, right? And the music is the life. And in that song, he says, "This is your life." You know, you can go anywhere. Grab the wheel. drive it like you stole it. So it's like that's life. In the song is a metaphor for life.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a great one.
And then he actually at the end of it, he is driving his grandfather's boat,
And then he's driving a boat.
and he did steal it from
And he
his.
stole it. That's actually true. Yeah, it's not a car, but it's a boat.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. I never even made that connection. Because
This is why we have a podcast.
I was thinking car, but it works just as well for boat. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Drive it like you stole it. This is your life. You can go anywhere. That's awesome.
That's good. I'll say I planned that one. Not.
Yeah, that was great. You just added an extra layer of appreciation to my next viewing of the movie.
Oh man.
All right.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, this was like it was a, it's a happy one. It's a simple one. It's like, yeah, I
It's a
wanted
good
to
one.
do
And
a
I get to
viewing
and I
of
get to learn a little bit more about you through that viewing. So I'm very
a little bit.
a little bit. Just a
Yeah.
little bit.
You're
A
getting the
little bit,
chisel.
little
You're
bit.
cracking it open a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, salting
yeah.
them a little bit.
Yeah. I have a special surprise for you that's gonna last longer than 2 minutes. So
Oh, we
let's
gotta end it.
you'll see. It's fun. It's like a quick little surprise thing. It's so the conversation's over, but this is a little extra surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be back in 5.
Okay.
This episode is brought to you by Rewind Society, a private club for analog purists and those who still believe the tracking knob was mankind's greatest invention. Each month, members receive a hand-labeled, unmarked VHS tape in the mail. What's on it? That's not for us to say. Could be a taped over broadcast of WCW Nitro, a local furniture commercial from 1992, or something that was never meant to be recorded. All we ask is that you watch it alone, at night, and please, be kind, rewind. Apply now at Rewind Society. Use code Andrew and Greg .tapehiss to skip the beta testing waitlist. Rewind Society. The past is calling. Pick up a landline.
So I have a special surprise for you. So in our last episode that was my pick, it was Clerks. And we mentioned in that episode Emo Kev. That was a big part of the episode.
Oh, you have Emo Andrew?
I don't truly have Emo Andrew because I recorded myself like walking out in my parents' backyard. My parents have this large property with like a field in the back. They live on a farm, and so there's woods in the back of their house. So I used to go walking and I would talk into my phone and I would just express my, inner frustrations.
What was this during the time that you went back for Sing Street? This was
Yes,
that
yes,
period of time.
yes.
This works perfect in this episode then.
Yes, this was during that period. So I didn't find those voice memo recordings, but what I did find is back in 2016, when I was living at my parents' house, I briefly tried to do a podcast. And I only recorded one episode. And guess what the movie was that I talked about in this episode?
It's got to be a Kubrick.
Sing Street.
No, you really did.
I had just seen Sing Street and I loved it. And I thought, I want to talk about Sing Street to the world. I want to tell the world how much I love Sing Street. And this movie inspired me to create a podcast episode. Okay,
so we have post Emo Andrew, but still in Emo Andrew's.
Yeah.
Doing their first and only podcast.
Yep.
Of Sing Street. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was me and my friend Gabby, and my name for the podcast was Indie Adventures, and I was actually going to use the da 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 da, and my concept was we're going to talk about indie films. And so my friend Gabby was nice enough to agree to do this. So
who is Gabby? I need to know who Gabby is.
Gabby was a girl I met when I lived in my parents' house, and she and I really hit it off. We were both very
Was
artistic.
she on a stoop across the street holding a cigarette?
It was a little bit like similar to that. Yeah, it was somewhat of that. Yeah, we really clicked, and we just had like similar sense of humor and interests. So I asked her if she would co-host this podcast with me, and she was nice enough to agree.
Well, I'm glad
So
I'm staying up for this. This is gonna be fucking beautiful.
so we only recorded one episode. This is the only one. And so yeah, I just found the recording of it. Now, I wasn't able to go through the entire episode. So I was
Oh no, just
rushing
play the whole
around.
thing. What is it, an hour?
One day I'm willing to sit down with you and we'll just play the whole episode and we can just talk over the episode. I'm willing to do that. But right now, since I had very limited time today, I was able to pull a few snippets. So
I'll
I
take what I can
essentially
get. I'll
this
say
is
that.
this is the preview. This is like, well, think of this as the trailer, okay? So I'll give you the trailer, and if this is a hit, then we can go on and we can do the whole podcast, okay? But this is just a little preview. So
So
I
this is
pulled some clips.
2016, right
Yes.
after Andrew saw Sing Street. Him and Gabby decided to say we're gonna make a podcast and we're gonna talk about how much Sing Street affected us and art and life in 2016,
Yes, yes. And
9 years ago.
yeah, and I've changed a lot since then, and I'm sure Gabby has too. So
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. Stop
I
with all
hope that
that.
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to
Stop with
say
all
I
that.
hope I have Gabby's blessing of playing this as well because
Yeah,
it's pretty
yeah.
funny. Okay, here we go.
Her and who's Kevin Smith's what's her name again?
Oh, I hope I had Amy
Amy
Talbot's
Talbot.
blessing to
Yeah,
read the email.
you're just blowing people up left.
I'm putting a lot of material out there that involves other people. So I hope I have their blessing. All right.
Hey,
I can
Solon,
send
you need to
this.
start watching out.
Yeah, that's very true. So yeah, I wonder if Gabby would hear this. If she hears it, by the way, no one's ever heard this. This has never been played. Gabby's never heard it.
You guys never put it out?
I didn't even edit it. It's unedited, and I've never even listened back to it. I was too embarrassed to even listen to it. Yeah, I recorded it and I thought I don't want to do
So
it.
today was the first time in 9 years that you even listened to parts of it just to cut together quickly to be able to present here.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gold.
All right, so here we go. Welcome to Indian. Welcome. So now, right away, this is why I don't want to.
We're gonna pause throughout this.
I'll let it play, but right away, I just want to say this is why I'm not the host. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to do the introductions, the whole thing, because the first in the raw audio recording, the first like 10 minutes of the recording are just me trying to do the intro and then laughing and then being very, very awkward about like, I don't know how to do this.
Well, that harkens back to our very first intro episode where you tried to write the intro, and I said, Andrew, just go off the cuff, and it has worked much better.
That's right. All right, here we go. Welcome to Indian. Wow. Welcome. Wow.
Welcome. What? That wasn't a real one. I was just like,
Oh my goodness.
just imitating you.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
I was just thinking.
All right,
about
all right. All right. Welcome to the Indie Adventures podcast. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Gabby.
Yeah, I didn't smoke back then.
you paused
but-
it.
Yeah, I paused it. I just want to say I didn't smoke back then, but I sounded like I was smoking. I was dragging. I'm like, welcome to the Indie Adventures podcast. I'm really dragging.
No, I love this already.
And I'm Gabby.
All right, so we watched Sing Street.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to say that this is weird. It's weird to be normal now.
Just gotta.
It's weird to be normal.
So I need to do
All right,
yoga.
so real conversation about Sing Street. Okay?
Yeah.
I actually genuinely want to know what you thought because when we watched it, I love this movie. I love this movie so much, and you seemed to enjoy it when we were sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got the vibe that you didn't like love it. You liked it, but you didn't love it.
I went back and I was thinking about like why I thought I didn't like it as much as you did. And like I said, it was like a bunch of like little white, like bunch of white boys.
Yep.
It is.
But they're you know, like very relatable,
They are really relatable.
know.
I will say that.
cute little white boys.
Cute little white boys.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be the podcast?
Hell yeah.
Is it cute little white boys on the
Yeah,
internet?
I say that all the time.
Do you?
No, I don't. I take that back. I never talk about it.
You're making it too big of a deal.
I'm making this so much worse.
Holy shit. A wonderfully made movie.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, pretty masterfully made. And yeah, so yeah, I can understand why people didn't like watch it. It's not being rented out in the store.
Yeah.
People aren't
Everybody-
renting it.
Right.
No, this is so long ago. Gabby worked in a video store.
Yeah, I was gonna say she seems like she works in the videos.
Yeah, she works in a video store at this time. So people aren't.
How was that? 2016. There was a video store still.
We lived in a country town, and it was like the last video store in America. There was only one video store around for miles, and it was this store, and she worked there. Yeah.
Was she preparing to get another job at the time, or
She actually was, yeah. But she knew they
Okay.
were gonna close. So yeah.
she saw the writing
Yeah.
on the
This
wall?
is why she and I
By 2016, at least she could view into the
Yeah.
future and see the writing on the wall that she was the last one.
Yeah. This is why she and I connected. She loved movies, you know? She actually worked in a video store. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was just like charmed to the ends of the earth by this movie. Like, I mean, like I didn't expect anything from it necessarily. I had heard about it on the internet. Some people had said, you know, oh, it's good. Go check it out. And
Yeah.
I liked the other movies by the director. And you know, I kind of just thought, like, I wasn't even gonna like go out of my way to seek it out. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted an excuse to go out with a girl.
I know.
And I was like, crap, what movie can I go see? And so I just was looking at whatever was playing at that moment. And I saw Sing Street, and I was like, oh, okay. I had heard that it was good. So, like, all right, I'll just go see that, you know, and it'll get me to go out with the girl. It'll be an excuse. And I can say to the girl, hey, you want to go see Sing Street? I'm going to go anyway. you know? And,
Okay, and was she the girl that you went with?
No. This is when I was swiping on Tinder and I matched with a girl.
This is when Hazel breaks into the room right now after overhearing you and starts hitting you with a shoe.
Yeah, I matched with this girl and I just really wanted to go out with her, apparently. I actually don't really remember that. But then when I heard this story, I was like, that's right, I remember that.
I thought that's much more normal than I thought at this time, that you had went with Gabby
No.
and you were telling her, I just really wanted to go out with a girl. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna get weird.
Yeah, and then I don't know if I tell the story here, but now I remember listening to this, old unreleased podcast of mine jogged my memory. And I remember what happened is I wanted to go out on a nice date, and I thought, the movie looked happy, good energy for a date, And I went to the movie and it just, like I said, it just was like a dagger to the heart. It just cut through me. And in that middle sequence, I was crying, and I was sitting next to the girl. And it's not a good look for a first date. And I didn't care at all. I was just like, it was one of those movies I remember. I loved the movie so much. I just thought, this date is now about this movie. It's not about you anymore. And then when the movie got done, I tried to talk to the girl and connect with her and say, oh my God, I loved that movie so much. And she didn't really like it that much. And I was telling her, like, it was so inspiring, and just, I was just raving and raving, and I could tell that it was like falling flat, and she just didn't care. And I just thought, okay, this is not working. I'm not feeling the connection, because she didn't like Sing Street.
Oh, dude, I honestly I can piggyback off that. I have the exact same story. I went and I had a date. This is before Tinder. This is back in 2000. We were in college or something, 2002, 2003, probably 2000.
late 2002, early 2003. Whenever Lost in Translation came out. I don't know.
Oh, okay. That
But
was 2003.
yeah, there we go.
That's a
So
great movie.
I went out, I met a girl at a bar or something like that, and then I said, "Hey, let's go hang out and then go to the movies." And we had a couple hours to kill before we hang out, and we were going to go see the movie on the west side around 23rd Street, somewhere around there. It was before the SVA had that whole thing over there. But anyway, we had a couple hours to hang out. So we walked over to like Pier 16 or one of the piers there on the West Side Highway, and we were able to just walk into this giant gymnasium that's in one of those piers there that you normally have to like get tickets for or something. We went in there and just jumped in like the foam pit, did a bunch of stuff, like diving. It's very fun. It was like, oh wow, this date's going great. This is so good. And then, it was always time to go see the movie. So we went to go see Lost in Translation. I was like, oh, it's Francis Ford Coppola's daughter. This is going to be really interesting. I'm very excited to see this. And, everything, chemistry, everything was wonderful. I was like, oh, the end of this date's going to work out real well. It's going to definitely be kiss, everything will be great. And movie went on, and then I went into movie world, and then the credits rolled, and I was just sitting there not moving. And then we walked out, and there was like an escalator or something, and she was looking at me, just like going like, "Yeah, you okay?" And I was just in that movie zone of just,
Yeah, no.
I'm not here right now. Like I'm nowhere to be found. And she was looking at me just like, "Oh, he's a psychopath." 'Cause I was just like, yeah, as great as this date is and whatever, in my head, I was just like, I just saw like the future of cinema. And I'm just like, I can't believe like Francis Ford Coppola's daughter is murdering this. And at the end of that movie, I was just in a trance. And like we walked out, and it wasn't even like, I could follow and try to like walk her home or something, but I was like started like walking with her, and she was looking at me like, "You're an insane person." And I was just like, "Yeah, I'll call you." And I was just gone. And that was the end of that relationship. So that never spotted into anything. We had a great time before that, but she did not have my viewing. And that was the end of that. And it's like, oh, okay, if you can't deal with Greg when he's in a trance watching like the greatest movie of all time, you can't be like, wow, that movie really affected you. And like we could talk about it. And I was trying to be like, did you not feel that? Did you not feel what we just experienced right there? And she didn't. And that was, thank God for that.
Yeah,
We got it out of the way
yeah,
real quick. That was movies were not going to be her thing.
yeah. I remember I saw Lost in Translation with a buddy of mine in film school in 2003. That's when we were in school. And I liked the movie. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And then just recently, I rewatched it with Hazel, and I had your experience from 2003. I was blown away. I'm like, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Yeah, that movie was incredible.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I said on that intro episode that we did actually that movies are a shared language. It's a shared experience. And so you need to have that. So if she didn't have that experience with you, now it's like you basically just went on two different dates,
We did.
and so the connection is lost. Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened to me. And now that I think of it, actually, it might also be that she thought this guy's crying his eyes out in the middle of this movie, and I don't want him to be my boyfriend. I don't want to date a guy who just cries in the middle of movies like that. But of course, then it was, fate, because then shortly after that, I met Hazel. So see, so everything's meant to be.
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
is meant to be.
Okay.
All right, back to Sing Street Clip. I got to hear this.
Like, I kind of just wanted to go on the date with the girl, but then the movie started, and like I could kind of tell right away that it was going to be good. Just the opening scene, literally the opening like 30 seconds of the movie, when he's playing his guitar and the
Yeah.
parents are fighting in the background and he starts singing their fight. I was like, okay, that's a pretty nice creative idea. Like, I was
You're in
like,
good
already, I
hands
was
by
like,
the
okay.
director.
Like, that's
Yeah,
a
it was
funny
really
way to start a
cool.
movie. And you kind of chuckled, but it actually told you a lot about the character, So it was like charming, creative, kind of lighthearted, but also heavy at
Yeah.
the same time. It just was like, it just struck a perfect chord right off the bat,
Yeah.
and I mean, there's a ton. I could go on and on and on about this. I mean, I love this movie so much. It
Yeah.
it instantly became one of my all-time favorite movies.
So I feel like now I've made up for the fact that I never released this episode because now I've finally done a podcast about Sing Street.
If anybody is listening to this, then you have to go watch Sing Street.
Go watch it now.
Stop what you're doing right this
Stop.
very second.
If you're pooping,
And
good.
exactly.
Just
No,
stop.
stop mid.
Stop
Yeah,
now.
just cut it off. and go watch Sing Street.
Please go
and
watch.
Just hold
Yeah.
it for 2 hours while you watch Sing Street
sounds unhealthy.
because you will cry in the best way. You'll just be moved. It'll teach you something about yourself. Although, actually, you know what though? I did think to myself as I got out of the theater, I overheard like a group of people talking. Did I tell you this already?
No, you didn't talk
Okay.
about this. Yeah.
That's right, because we haven't talked about this at all.
I know. We try to save
Okay.
it to be fresh.
Right. So as I got out of the theater, there was a group of people there behind me, and they were chatting about the movie. And one of them said to the other, like, "Oh, what did you think of the movie?" And the other one was like, "Yeah, it was good. Like, I would recommend it. But like, maybe like only to certain people. It's like it's not for everyone. Like that's what the kid said." And I like thought to myself, like, "Oh my God, like how could you ever say that?" I was like, "This movie's for everyone." But then I realized, no, wait. This movie is for artists. Like, that's who this movie's for. Like, I get it. I get why that guy didn't have the same reaction that I had because, I don't know who that guy was.
Yeah.
But he probably wasn't an artist. Because
You can't make that assumption.
I can't, but I will. Because this movie, that's what I loved so much about it. And it's like, that's what was so unique about it. I feel like I defy any artist to watch this movie and to not love it. Like, I don't understand how any artist could not love this movie because it tells you the artist's experience. This is the experience of every artist, right? It's one of those like incredible, beautiful movies that is specific and yet universal, right? It's like, I'm not a musician, I'm a filmmaker, but I can watch this movie and say, oh my God, that was my life. I wasn't raised in the 80s. I'm not English. I'm not Irish.
Are they Irish?
Whatever, Irish. I'm not Irish, and my parents didn't get divorced, I don't have an older brother. It's a lot that's different about my life specifically, but it doesn't matter because it's like the feelings that it takes you through, right? That journey is like completely the journey of an artist. Like I watched this movie and I thought to myself, this is every artist's life on screen. Like I bet if you go back and read the biography, pick anyone, throw a dart and pick any artist and read their biography, I bet like the broad strokes are this movie.
Oh, the same.
Dude, you have to somehow cut this in there. This just needs to be at the end.
Yeah, I'll put this at the end. Okay, let's. You want more?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you like my whole, my whole experience of the movie. I actually didn't love the movie. It didn't hit like the next level for me until that scene that you were talking about with the in the gymnasium.
Okay.
That was the scene that did it for me.
Yeah,
Alright.
the prom.
What was that scene for you? Because as you can see, it felt like that for me. But what was it? What was that for you?
So up until that time, I mean, I was really enjoying the movie. I thought it was definitely a good movie. But that scene to me just took it to another level because
Gather my thoughts.
I had like a you moment.
How is losing your
Lost.
train of thought a me moment? Excuse me.
Because it just happened to you.
What?
You're like, I had a you moment. You just
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. Yeah, very antagonistic toward Gabby. Poor Gabby. I'm sorry, Gabby. Okay, forgive Emo Andrew.
I like it. She stands up for herself though.
Yeah, she's like, how is that me? That's you. That's a you thing.
I don't know exactly like how I'm like formula. I'm kind of all over the place. This podcast is probably going to be all over the place because like I have trouble like containing my my love for this movie.
Yeah, very sleepily.
Yeah. No, I like.
So the
I lost it.
gymnasium scene.
Yeah, the gymnasium scene. Yeah, I felt like because like earlier in the film, right, his brother had said to him when he saw the video that they had made, right, and then the brother said like just like offhand, it was like an offhand remark, and he goes like, oh yeah, this is good, but you know, you just need like a better director and like a little production value, you know, and like
Yeah.
maybe you'll have something, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, but I like your effort, you know.
Yeah.
And then the movie just goes on and plays and like the story goes on and it's all wonderful and great, you know, but like nothing really, like for me, nothing that was like spectacular that kind of took it like to the next level. But then that gymnasium scene came, and you know, up like here's a movie that's about art and the creation of art and artists, and this gymnasium scene happens and it goes into that dream sequence. And first of all, just the idea of like transforming the movie like that and having it become a dream sequence when we haven't seen anything like that
Anything
yet,
like that, yeah.
to me was just so wonderful, so creative. That's the kind of thing that movies don't really do, you know? And a movie doesn't really have to do that. It's also kind of risky because
It was risky because it was like Back to the Future. Yeah, it was like based
Yeah.
on Back to the
yeah,
Future.
yeah,
And like a little bit, like it could have gone too cheesy really fast.
right, right.
And
And it has this like heightened surreal quality
Yeah.
to it, and the movie doesn't have that quality.
we see
right?
like the characters looking. The thing that I really liked about that scene is like characters looked not like anything we'd see before. Like we're in like kind of like dreary, like James Joycey, like Ireland. Everyone's waiting to die. It's
Wow, Gabby's smart. James Joyce. She's right. She's right. It's like James Joyce's Ireland. That was good.
That was good.
Yeah, I picked good podcast partners. I have good taste in podcast partners.
You're two for two now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
And suddenly, like, his brother is like has a smile on his face. He's beating up what's his face over the girl
Right.
for him, by the way, which I think is kind of funny. And his parents come in like all jolly and happy, and that's why I was like, now we're seeing what not the fantasy, not the motivation, the fantasy of like I'm gonna make it better with what I'm doing, kind of thing, which I
It's
thought
an
was
interesting
really great.
read. Yeah, it's an interesting read. I like that read because
Okay.
that's not the way I saw it, which is nice because of course it's always great to get a right point of view, you know. So that's really cool, and yeah, I love that. The way that I saw it is, it had this just heartbreaking poignancy to it
Yeah.
because it's okay, sorry, it's like I wish I had like just watched the movie.
Sorry, it's okay.
Because yeah, it's been
No.
like it's been
Well-
a while, but
Okay, that's the end of the clip. That's the whole clip I
Ah,
grabbed.
dude.
We can listen to more. I made the mistake. I remember this. I made the mistake of doing that podcast without rewatching the film. I was like, I went in like arrogant. I was like, oh, I love this movie. I can just talk about it. And then I realized as I was talking, I'm like, I don't remember how the movie goes.
So you basically, this is the beta test 9 years ago for
Yeah.
how to do a podcast, and you learned episode 1
Yeah.
that you need
Yeah.
to rewatch the week before.
Yeah. So I think what I was about to say is the poignancy of, he wants his life to be this way, but it's not that way. And so there's something actually kind of tragic, kind of sad about that. And that's just like, that got me in the theater. And like I said, I was like, date, be gone. I was crying my eyes out. Yeah. I love that.
That's so good, dude. That's wild that you have that as a 9-year jump cut.
Yeah.
And the movie hasn't changed for you in your appreciation for it.
That's what's kind of funny is that by the way, I did not listen back to this. I just kind of quickly grabbed pieces to play for you, but I didn't listen to everything I said. It's actually amazing. I said a lot of the same things
Yeah.
tonight that I had said 9 years ago. Yeah.
It stuck with
Yeah.
you that much that's
Yeah.
dude, that's a testament for how much the film affected you. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of the best movie experiences I've ever had. I mean, I would say I could probably count them on one hand. I have a few of like my greatest movie theater experiences, and this one would be up high for sure.
It's so
Yeah.
funny that I mean, I guess it's a different era, but when I think about the best movie experiences I had, they're like Jurassic Park, Speed, Titanic, like they're all 90s when
Mm,
the age of these characters who are in Sing Street. You know what I mean?
yeah. Okay.
Those are my movie experiences
Okay.
where it was the formative teen years where I had those to that degree. Obviously, Lost in Translation was one of them, but that's on a different level, and I was a bit older. I
Yeah.
I so can't wait to do Stand By Me because this one reminded
Okay.
me of that a lot. In
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You want to quickly reel off our top movie theater experiences ever, and then we end the episode?
I'm down with
Does
that.
that sound fun?
Yeah, I just gave most of mine away, but
Oh,
yeah.
you gave a okay. All right. In the year 2001, the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey did a 70 millimeter tour around America. And that was our first year of college. And I walked to Times Square by myself. I had no friends. And I walked to Times Square and I saw,
By choice, that is, my
yes.
friend.
I was not responding to Greg's open invitation of friendship. And so I, very lonely walked all the way to Times Square by myself and I sat in a theater. And this was when this theater doesn't exist anymore. It was like the Ziegfeld, where it was one giant screen. And they played 2001: A Space Odyssey in 70 millimeter. And I was 18 years old and I got to see that in a movie theater. That might be my number one best movie experience ever. And it was already my favorite movie at the time. And I loved it so much. It was only playing in Times Square for 1 week. And I went back every single day for a week straight. I saw it 7 days in a row. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When ticket prices were affordable at the time.
Yeah, that was when we were in New York City and ticket prices had just gone up to 10 whole dollars.
Oh, God.
$10. And I remember thinking, $10? It's in double digits now.
And even though it was shot in 68 millimeter, they blew it up those extra 2 millimeters just for you, Andrew.
Yeah. Then I went to go see Andrei Tarkovsky's movie Nostalgia. That's that's Tarkovsky is one of my favorite directors in film school. And in Lincoln Center, they did a retrospective of all of Tarkovsky's movies. And they did something amazing at the end of this movie. The last shot, without spoiling anything, the last shot is like a dolly back, like pull out shot. It's this long pull out shot. And when the camera was pulling
That one
back,
it comes out of a window with bars.
no, I think you might be thinking of Stalker. But yeah, Nostalgia is actually it's a little known film by Tarkovsky. It's not one of his big famous ones, but I loved it. Great film. There's a
Oh, the
famous
name. I
scene.
don't know if I've actually seen it though.
Yeah, I will pick it and we'll watch it for the show. But there's
I
the
was more Claude Lelouch for some
okay,
reason around that
okay.
time period
There
when
was
everyone
a
was Tarkovsky. I always remember college when people would go Tarkovsky, and I would go, "I think those." I gotta get it,
yeah,
which is why I'm excited
yeah.
for that.
I in film school I loved Kubrick and I loved Tarkovsky. They were my two favorite. And so those two jumped to mind and that was when I was in school. And there's a famous shot in the movie Nostalgia where a guy tries to carry a candle, a lit candle across like a I don't know, like a courtyard, or it's like, it's like a walk, and he has to keep the candle and there's wind and he's trying to keep the candle lit, and it's like this, beautiful metaphor for life, going back to my metaphors. But yeah, so anyway, but the last shot is this big pull out shot, And the Lincoln Center Theater, when the camera was pulling out, right when it got to the end, they had huge curtains in the theater and they started closing the curtains. And so as the camera pulled out, the curtains closed and they timed it perfectly. And right when the credit rolled, the curtains closed. And it's a movie that, you know, it's an older film. So that I think they do the credits at the beginning and the film just ends with like a single, you know, copyright. And so the last credit came up and the curtains closed. And I just remember like holding my breath and thinking, "Oh my God, that was an incredible movie experience."
Oh my god, I know the wait, is the last shot, I mean, I don't know if it's the last
I
shot.
believe it's of a
Is
church.
it okay, what's the one with the fire? Is he
Oh, that's the mirror. That's Mirror.
got it. Okay, I'm throwing that off. I
Yeah, yeah.
don't know if I've seen Nostalgia. I'm looking at shots of it though, and I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck, this is gorgeous. And I've
Yeah.
seen shots of it from this, but I have to do a deep dive and watch all of the stuff.
Yeah. I picked a lot of his films, but you know, coming up in a few years, so maybe I'll get there.
He's got all these shots of people staged in a very specific way, like facing the camera and these static, like fucking wides or something.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, he's a poet of cinema.
It's another because it seems like the way he shoots is very static film image. Like you can just take one of his and you're just like, oh, that's a perfect photo, which Kubrick is also that way. So it's interesting.
Yeah, that's true, but he does use a lot of camera movement as well, though. So yeah, he's a master, one of the greatest of all time, for sure. Yeah, I'm excited to get into some of those, you know, more deep dive, obscure kind of movies. Yeah, go artistic. Yeah. Yeah, I believe the last shot is of a church. I think it's like a church, like the ruins of a church. So it doesn't have the ceiling, and there's like this beautiful window, and the camera like pulls out, and the Lincoln Center Theater closed those curtains. Bravo to the Lincoln Center staff because they nailed that timing. And that just the closing of those curtains and the timing of it, I've remembered that, you know, for 20 years because they did such an incredible job. Yeah, I was like my breath was taken away. So that was a great one. And then I'll tell you this, you know what's funny? I have another my number three probably. I might even put this one before Sing Street. Sing Street would go high. Sing Street might be my number four, but my number three would be I loved at the time when it came out.
In
I
the
loved
context of the film, in the context of the
I
viewing of the film.
I loved the M. Night Shyamalan movie Lady in the Water. I was the one fan of that movie when it came out. When that
You're the one.
I'm the one. When that movie came out, I was actually blown away. I thought that was like the greatest movie I'd ever seen at that time. And yeah, that movie struck a nerve with me. I related to that movie. It was something about the story, and other people didn't connect to it, but I connected with the characters in that movie, and I had this unbelievable movie experience. I think that's probably the hardest I've ever cried in a theater. I said I was crying like uncontrollably for Sing Street, but I was like fighting it where I was like trying to hold it back, you know? But with Lady in the Water, it was just like I just let it flow. And I came out of the theater, my face was just red, you know, and it was like yeah, it was like I'd just been through a breakup or something. I was like, yeah. And I even remember sitting there thinking, you know what? I can't even hold back the tears. I have to just give in and just let it out. And I just let it out during the credits. It was like the credits, I think, at the end credits. And I was just like, I was blown away by that. So we could get to that one at the time. Now, the funny thing about that is since then, you know, as I've gotten older, I have rewatched the movie and I've realized, okay, I get,
not same viewing.
yeah,
Not
I
same viewing.
get why everybody criticized this movie. Like now I get it. Like I don't think the movie really works, but
Yeah,
you
but that's
know,
the great
when
thing
I
about
was,
movie. It's right place,
yeah,
right time. And the movie's
yeah,
speaking to some audience,
yep,
even in case depending on where they are in the course of their life. And if a movie comes along and says the right things, then you go, oh no, that hit me to the core. It doesn't matter.
yeah. And then Sing Street, and then and I remember my viewing of Sing Street, yeah, because I connected to it so much as an artist, which I talked about. So
Oh,
I think those would be my top.
dude.
Yeah. So what one day we'll watch Lady in the Water and I'll tell you why I connected to it at that time. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean, mine was Jurassic Park. Saw 4 times in the theater.
That was when it came out. That was 1993.
93. Yeah. I
So
mean,
you were
my
about 10 years
probably
old.
yeah. My best viewing would be 1989. Indiana Jones Last Crusade. That was definitely my
Wow.
childhood fantasy. I was Indiana Jones. I was in. That was it. It was over. I've told that one before. Somebody else can go find it on the podcast. When we do the Last Crusade, I'll tell that story again.
Okay.
And that
I'm
was
excited for that. Yeah.
yeah, that was gorgeous. Then Jurassic Park, two Spielbergs right there. Then I
Spielberg.
Speed 1994. I remember riding
Speed.
bikes the day I was gonna go see Speed. I was riding bikes with my friend Alex, who lived a couple doors down, and I just kept saying what was in the trailer, and we're just riding bikes, and I was just like, "Once the bus goes over 50 miles an hour, the bomb is armed. Once it drops below 50, it blows up. What do you do?" And I just like kept saying it over and over. I'm so excited to go see this. Didn't even know the director, didn't care, didn't know it was Jan de Bont, didn't know he was a cinematographer before. I just knew like the guy from Bill and Ted looks really cool in this movie, and it's about a bus. It's gonna explode, man. I was so fucking pumped. I was so kid mode. 1994, I was like 11 and a half or something. You know what I mean? And I was just like, fucking, I can't wait for this. We're gonna get tickets. We're gonna go to see Speed. And yeah, that was mind blowing. And then I was so pissed because that was one of the longest ones that took to get out in on VHS from being in the movies. It was like a year
Okay.
and 3 months or something. It was almost it wasn't as long as
Yeah.
Forrest Gump, which was the same year, which was still one of my other great theater viewings. I had no idea that you could bring a character through their entire life in that type of way. And at the time, like I was a little kid who wanted to make movies. I wanted to bring somebody. They don't do it with Forrest, but I wanted to bring somebody from the beginning of the life to the end of their life because I was obsessed with the movie Little Big Man. He's
Okay.
on this as well. But then Speed, Jurassic Park, or sorry, Jurassic Park, Speed, Titanic, 4 times in theaters.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. You and all the 16-year-old girls.
loved it. But that movie, it was everybody though.
Yeah.
That movie was a cultural phenomenon at the time.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
loved that. And I went the first time I saw it, I think with the parents, then I would like try to branch off mom, like, "Hey mom, can we go see it?" And then I went to visit my grandfather and I was like, "Hey, can we go see Titanic?" Like I was
Oh,
seeking
wow.
viewings wherever I
Okay.
and I remember the second time I went into that's when I recorded the audio cassette tape of it. I brought in a little tape recorder, and then every like 45 minutes, you'd have to stop and then flip the tape and put it over. And I had to bring 2 tapes for that one because it was very long. So I actually have the recording of the audience reaction to Titanic and watching the entire movie in the theater and hearing when they laughed, when they didn't. Um,
Yeah.
and that was a spectacle. I remember when I saw the trailer for that in the theater in upstate New York when I was with my grandfather, and the trailer for that was just, at the end when the boat's going up and he's like they start going down, I was just going, "What am I watching?" Like this seemed
Yeah.
like I think of it now and I think of it as in like a 3D Disney experience, even watching the trailer as a kid and being like, "What the fuck?" And that was the trailer, maybe I was 15 or something, but it was still just like this movie's larger than life. What is going on? And I was already obsessed with like Terminator and the Abyss, so I was just like, what the fuck is Cameron doing? I was just like, how is this fucking possible? So that was, yeah,
Yeah.
4-time theater viewing. I don't know if there's any
That's awesome.
viewings that are ever going to top my 90s kid nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's why I want to do Stand By Me because that one line when
Right.
when he's kind of, I'll butcher it if I try to say it exactly, but he's basically talking about when you're kids and when you experience something like, is there anything that's ever that good? And it's kind of the basis of what he's saying. It's not the great Stephen King line. It's not what's in the movie, but he says something like that. And then he goes like, Jesus, does anybody? It was like, I'll never forget those days that I had when a kid and this and that and whatever the fuck. And, I'll never, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, well, Jesus, does anybody?
Yeah. Well, now I really want to see Stand By Me. Now I really want to talk to you about that one. So I don't know if you'd want to hear more of Sing Street. Maybe that was enough of my Indie Adventures podcast. Maybe that was enough. I don't know. We might return to that one.
I'm definitely down. I'm definitely
Yeah, yeah. But it's on topic for this week for this movie. Yeah.
you got to find a way to cut that in at the end. You have to put that in there.
Yeah. I'm going to put it at the end. So for anybody who sticks to the end, that's the special present.
All right. Peace, brother.
All right.
This is a good one.
I'm the break in the flicker, the cut in the edit, the blade through the credits, a frame they embedded. Light in the distance, persistence poetic. The dark is a prison, I brighten with aesthetic. No stunt doubles, I tumble through trap fights. The scripts in my soul, I control on my track spikes. Whisper in a reel, I reveal with the black light. The dark is a canvas that I carve with the flashlight. Call it a war cry, a cinematic spark. A puzzle in the shadows, a code of the art. It's Andrew and Greg and the legacy embarks. Our voices ignite and we light up the dark.
What is the email again, Andrew?
lightupthedarkpodcast@gmail.com.
If you guys want to see the unedited post Emo Andrew, semi Emo Andrew, really in Sing Street mode 2016 full podcast unreleased, you can email us and ask Andrew, and he might send you a link.
Yeah.